We gave you 2.5 hours on the rookies for the 2026 class. It's one of the weaker classes, probably the weakest class, I would say, since I started doing fantasy football content full time. So I don't really know where the rest of this program is going to go. But every offseason, myself, Pat Kerrane from legendaryupside.com, and Jakob Sanderson from Thinking About Thinking sit down and we all go through and redo our dynasty rankings. And then we say, all right, well, you're an idiot about this. You're an idiot about this. And then we spend the rest of the time arguing. And I mean, for maybe the first time I can remember, we actually have a disagreement at 1, because you guys each have Josh Allen at 1, and I have the 2 stud wide receivers, Jamar Chase and Jackson Smith-Njigba, as my 1 and 2 before Josh Allen. I mean, he's 30. He is just as liable as anyone to like not have 14 rushing touchdowns in a season. And I think that is enough for me to go to the younger wide receivers. Like, I think if I was doing a startup right now, I think I'd rather take Chase or JSN.
How long you been waiting to not have Josh Allen at 1? This is a happy day for you.
This is a big day. This is a big day.
Justin Herbert at 1.
Oh my God! I don't even know where I have Justin Herbert ranked, but it's probably 15 spots lower than you guys. Yeah, guaranteed it is.
I'll say this, Davis. I do have Josh at 1, but I've always done my picks in tiers, and I have the base value pick tiers. And since I've been doing my rankings, I used to have my first tier when I first launched my rankings used to be 4 base ones or more. And then I made that change to 3.5 or more and 3 or more. And now for the first time, I don't have any player worth more than 3 ones. I've changed my top tier to 2.5 to 3 because Josh Allen's basically been my 101 for probably not the entirety of the time I've done Dynasty rankings, but the majority of it. Right. But you know who's more valuable than 29-year-old Josh Allen? 25-year-old Josh Allen was more valuable.
For sure.
So, like, if he's still the 101, then the value of the 101 is declined by 4 years of Josh Allen, right? Like, you know who was more valuable than 26-year-old Jamar Chase? 22-year-old Jamar Chase was more valuable than 26-year-old Jamar Chase. So, like, the fact is, like, unless you think, you know, Malik Neighbors getting injured kind of hurts this because he probably would actually be my 101 right now if he didn't get hurt. But, like, unless you're putting like a guy like that, or like, you know, Ted McMillan's not the 101, and nowhere even close to consideration. Malik Neighbors is hurt. So like then you go back another draft class to JSN. If he's not the 101, then the 101 is any one of these guys who was in contention to be the 101 4 years ago and is just an older version. So I think like the whole market has compressed and the 101 is just less valuable as a whole. And I now have like a 7-person tier at the top versus in previous years when I've had 1 or 2 or 3 of these quarterbacks way up in the stratosphere. Yep.
I'm aligned there. I knew Pat was going to have Drake Maye very high. Here's where I'm at with Drake Maye, Pat, and tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm totally off base. He feels sort of like, I was going to say Jordan Love, but that's damning with faint praise. Like, he's clearly a good quarterback. He's going to start for 15 years for the New England Patriots. I don't know if Drake Maye is going to be a overall quarterback 1 by a mile, league winning. Like, I think he could do it. Like, he's certainly got the scrambling upside. He's got the arm, and maybe I'm just suffering from a lack of imagination.
Sounds like it to me, I have to say.
Could totally be the lack of imagination on my part. But again, I'm thinking like, I don't know, man, I think maybe I'd rather just take Bijan without Algier and just hope to get the 2 consecutive seasons of like catch his like Christian McCaffrey season, right? His 90 catch, 20 touchdown season versus a Drake Maye. Now obviously you get into the positional stuff there, kind of same deal with Puka. Like, I mean, we don't have to spend that much time on the quarterbacks, but I did think that was notable.
Yeah, I think the thing with Drake Maye to remember, like, it depends on scoring for quarterbacks is always a little weird, but because we have not figured out like a consensus one. But
yeah,
if you do weird. Like ESPN scoring, which I think is 25 points. Let's do half PPR, which I think is underdog. He scored over 20 points. Basically, whatever your scoring is, he scored over 20 points per game this past season. Looks like 21.7 in underdog. He was putting up consistently, at least 15, but usually over 20 points down the stretch. And he's doing that with a receiver core of Stephon Diggs, who got cut after the year, Mac Hollins, Kayshon Boutte, Pop Douglas and Kyle Williams rotating in. Hunter Henry was his most reliable receiver in some ways. It's just like they did
Stevenson was his most reliable receiver.
Yeah, I mean, sure. But like it was really incredibly unimpressive as far as the weapons. This is like old school Brady level, Patriots weapons. And the offensive line, still not great. It was a lot better than it was in his rookie season. But like when you look at the overall surroundings for Drake Maye, there's still so much room for a like superstar receiver to come in and raise this offense up another level. Like it's all just Drake Maye right now. I think questioning his ceiling entering year 3 when he's already been kind of like, we were ranking him as the top quarterback several times down the stretch of last year. He'd be the quarterback 1 in the week heading into the week and score really well. I was starting him in my fantasy playoffs in dynasty leagues over Josh Allen. I was starting him, and he was outscoring Josh Allen. That was winning me matchups. So I think he's already done it at the end of last year, and he did it with a really poor surrounding cast that's everyone knows is poor. The team knows it's poor. They moved on from Diggs. They signed Dobbs. They've been aggressively trying to trade for A.J. Brown. I'll tell you what, I think if A.J. Brown does end up on the Patriots, at least Jacob and I will probably flip Maye to the 101. I will.
I would.
So there's upside right there. I think, just the fact that he's entering year 3, he's already shown this ceiling, and he does it in a way where he runs, but the passing and the deep passing, running against the current of the meta where you can't have explosive deep pass plays, he can. So he seems immune to this, at least maybe somewhat the schedule helped, the better defenses shut that down a bit in the playoffs. But yeah, but guess who he plays 2 times next year? The Dolphins. Guess who he plays 2 times as well?
True.
The Jets. The schedule's not getting that much harder. So I don't know. I think he's shown so much already, and he's literally just played 2 years in the league. He's 23 years old. He's a big guy, huge arm, and runs. The ceiling is as high as kind of anybody.
I'll say something that's going to piss off Davis and make Pat a little weak in the knees, which is that the quarterback that he most reminds me of in terms of how does he project as a 101 type dynasty asset is Patrick Mahomes.
Where he's just like always good.
Right. Like it's not, you don't have the rushing ceiling of Allen or Jackson.
That does not make me mad.
McDaniels,
That's a very accurate repreception.
Well, you never know how cool your head will be when Mr. 15 is brought up. I applaud you. Because Maye's rushing upside is primarily scrambling. They're not doing the designed runs that they're doing with Lamar, and so I don't think.
And he's not Allen, like he's not like a tank,
Right, they're not giving him 13 rushing touchdowns. So
no.
I don't think that we're gonna get. He's not Cam. So I don't think that like a 29.
I mean, Cam would tell you that. Don't let Cam.
Yeah, that's
you compare him. Yeah.
So I don't think we're ever gonna get like a 29 point per game season from Drake Maye, the way that like when Lamar has had his ridiculous seasons, he just like breaks fantasy completely. But
NFC scoring, he had 26.8 though. So just last year.
Okay, yeah. NFC scoring, yeah. All right, whatever scoring settings help.
That's the highest I could find.
But I think that the Maye is kind of indicative of what I was just saying about the value proposition. I mean, we have this issue in Dynasty right now where the elite 3 quarterbacks that have dominated the top rounds of Dynasty since the last half decade are getting older. Josh Allen's almost 30. Mahomes is 30. Lamar's pushing 30. You also have this overall meta that is reducing pass volume, so that obviously hurts just the value of wide receivers. And you're always going to have a dynasty bias against running backs. So I think there's a bit of a glass ceiling on how much you can value Jahmyr Gibbs and Bijan Robinson. And so even if Maye, if his projection is like, okay, he's 23 and he's going to be between quarterback 3 and 6, like very frequently for the next 10 years, it's like That might not have historically been what I'd wanted to put at the 101, but like against this current crop of players, I think it's as reasonable as anybody else. And I've seen some people flag, well, Daniels was this 1 year wonder and Stroud was this 1 year wonder. Then they came crashing down. I think it's important to say Maye had a really good rookie year, obviously not as good as those two, but very strong, and then backed it up with an elite second year. I think that there's more on the bone with him that I feel confident about going forward than with some of the others. So, I mean, again,
he's also like a much better prospect than Stroud, who was a pretty good prospect.
I mean, and I thought from a real life perspective, he was a much better prospect than Daniels, which looked like a bad take after year one.
I did too.
Now I feel a lot better about.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
All right. I mean, I don't think a ton of these guys up here are. Well, maybe it's interesting that Pat is not at all scared about the just the general weirdness for the Ravens. Maybe that's kind of interesting, and also not scared about the weirdness for Jayden Daniels. Jayden Daniels still at 4. I have Jayden Daniels at 14. I'm worried Jayden Daniels is simply too skinny. I'm worried that Jayden Daniels might just be one of those guys who kind of just, what is a really good comp for Jayden Daniels? There really might not be one. Maybe doesn't help, again, the prior that I had, that I was like so surprised by what Jayden Daniels did as a rookie. Like I was a lot lower on him than you guys were when we did this exercise for them as rookies. And it's totally possible I'm wrong. I also realize Jacob and I are very low on Bowers, but Daniels, Pat.
Yeah, so Jayden Daniels, I think, is just there's two facts of Jayden Daniels. He is skinny. He's probably going to take too many hits. It doesn't look fun. He gets lit up sometimes. But he also runs, and I think he's really good. And so I think there's going to be this little bit of a swing in his value over the next few years, depending on like which version of, which facts are kind of highest in people's minds on Jayden Daniels, that he's skinny and probably going to miss some games.
Whatever he did, like the prior 4 games is going to be the value.
Or that he's awesome and extremely fantasy friendly as a scorer. And I think for me, like, I'd rather just have Jayden Daniels on my team. Like if I'm like building a team around a young quarterback, he's 25 years old. He is going to be super fantasy friendly. This is an asset that I'm kind of using as like a foundational piece, potentially one that I want to maintain trade value. I don't know that he'll maintain trade value like 7 days of the week, 12 months of the year, but like I'm going to have a window to sell Jayden Daniels again for a bunch of draft picks or whatever, or for, move laterally to the 103 or 104 at some point in the next 2 years, I think. Maybe at some point he's worth like a second round pick, but I'm going to probably hold through that. I think the thing with Daniels for me is that as a rookie, he was just way better at football than I thought. Like he's really,
he was a lot better than I thought too.
Yeah. Like I was just too low on him as an actual NFL talent. He does have some weaknesses, but he's really awesome, I think. And another guy where like this supporting cast isn't good and the coaching could be so much better, but I think that creates upside for him down the road. Unfortunately, probably doesn't like happen this year. He's probably gonna have to ride out one more Dan Quinn season, and if anything, the weapons seem worse than last year. But which I totally get where you guys are coming from, ranking him a little bit lower on that stuff. But to me, you get the age and you get the fantasy friendly scoring profile, and then you probably get, hopefully in 2027, maybe it takes another year, but you get a team that starts to build in like a reasonably sensible way around him, which they haven't really done so far.
That maybe is my hang up.
I'm right in between you guys, and that's a little bit of my fear is one. So I'm at the very top of my second tier, and the only reason he's there is just I think the other 7 now all I have, which is Allen, Maye, JSN, Chase, Bijan, Gibbs, and Puka, all have shown enough that I'm like, if they had a down year, if they had an injury, like I don't know that anyone is dropping them quite as far. Whereas Daniels is coming off kind of a mess of a year. I didn't really like him that much as a prospect coming into the league.
So hard for me to shake that when I think a guy is not that good.
Like after year 1, I was like, I was wrong. But then I see year 2, and I'm like, maybe I wasn't quite as wrong as I thought. So it's like seeping back in.
He was banged
still
up
have
and
very
stuff, though.
I mostly agree. My concern is more like if he struggles again out of the gate or he gets hurt again out of the gate, like is his value falling more than some of these other guys? And I think yes, probably just because we then would have this one kind of
in the short term.
year.
I think you're right. Yeah.
And in the short term, the situation is not optimistic. Like I think very lowly of Dan Quinn as a coach. I have no idea what to think of David Blau. That's like kind of crazy to me that you have this exciting
Bling blang
quarterback
Blau
on rookie contract, and that's who you decided to target as your offensive coordinator. It's old Terry McLaurin coming off an injury-riddled season, and like nobody else that's particularly exciting as a pass-catching weapon. And then the injury stuff. So I wind up in the middle of you guys. I'm way lower than you guys on Lamar, which is interesting. And that is less about this year, I think, and more about I'm scared that we caught a glimpse of what Lamar Jackson looks like when he's no longer the best athlete in the NFL in the second half of last year, and I found it deeply terrifying. And as he approaches 30, like, what if that is what Lamar is in 2 years? And then I moved him down a bit. Still in the same tier as Daniels. I have 8 through 15 in the same tier. Also, a methodological question: did you guys put the rookies in your rankings?
I did, yeah.
Not?
Not the picks,
so
but
the
rookies in.
the rookies are in our rankings. Jacob, what I did was I just put your picks in. So instead of having so Jacob's picks are in. Kerrane and I ranked Jeremiah Love and the associated players.
If you want to get deep into the weeds, the reason why I do the picks in my rankings is because like I think 95% of people do post-draft rookie drafts, and so to me, like the 105 is actually more valuable than the 5th ranked player I have.
For sure,
like, you might get the 3rd ranked player, and you have like more information. So like I value like the 107 above my 7th ranked rookie, so that's why I do it that way. But yeah.
Well, also you're not sure who the 101 is this year. You're saying.
I am pretty sure who the 101 is. That one is probably unnecessary. I could probably put just Jeremiah Love in the 14 slot and then have the rest of them as like ambiguous.
Yeah, I think you could get away with that.
Yeah,
that's probably legitimate. Okay, you guys, this is a real deviation. I actually don't want to talk about how Jacob and I are cowards. Oh, sure, we can talk about Lamar. I don't want to talk about how Jacob and I were cowards on Bowers and got frame mugged.
Getting outflanked by Pat on Brock Bowers is so.
I honestly, it reflects so poor.
You left me plenty of room, bros.
Yeah,
it wasn't hard.
For the record, 15 is in the same tier as 8. So like if you think about it, he's basically ranked 8. You know, I don't do ordinal rankings. So
for the record, 15 would also place us above market on Bowers. We just got out marketed.
Look at that, Pat. Maybe be a market based analyst.
Yeah,
I'm not. I'm gonna try to give people
24 hours after I wrote a big piece about why people shouldn't do market based analysis.
It's overused.
Yeah,
I think. I mean, come on, guys. Like this last year, he was dealing with a knee injury. He was on a team that fired their OC mid-season. Geno Smith like melted down by the end of the season. We're dealing with like Kenny Pickett in week 18. They fire Pete Carroll. The whole thing was a disaster. They're going to have Mendoza, which I'm not a huge Mendoza guy, but I think he'll be okay. And then you get Clint Kubiak. You guys are ranking old JSN. Give me new JSN. Give me the guy who's going to be the engine of the new Kubiak offense in Vegas with tight end eligibility.
Are you a little bit afraid? Like, I'm not saying a high percentage. I just have like Clint Kubiak. I think is obviously very good at his job. Like he's very good at scheming plays. I'm not trying to be the fantasy bro about this, but I do fear he's a little rigid in terms of like what he wants. Like the Walker Sharps usage would indicate. We also have he was in New Orleans the year before. And Juwan Johnson was like regularly playing the same amount of snaps as Foster Moreau. He leaves. Juwan Johnson becomes an 85% routes every single game guy. Last year, they play Barner as the primary tight end. Elijah Roy, who they draft in the 2nd round, is like a situational player. I guess like I'm a little afraid of Brock Bowers ran 71% of the routes this week, and they played a lot of 11 personnel. and Michael Mayer is the tight end in that 11 personnel, and we haven't figured out how to use him in the slot. It scares me a little. I think it's 90% chance that's a completely false concern, and he just runs 91% of the routes, and he's effectively their wide receiver one. But I'm a little afraid of, like, we're going to do minus 10% PROE, and we're going to build everything about the run, and we don't know how to play Brock Bowers outside and 12 personnel, and so it's a lot of blocking tight ends. Does that not scare you at all? It scares me a little bit.
It doesn't really scare me that much. It's because, I mean, you look at the rest of this Raiders roster, right? I think they would have been happy to get Rashid Shaheed here. They don't. They have what? They signed Jalen Naylor.
Yeah.
They've got Jack Besh. That didn't work. Thornton, nothing. Trey Tucker is the best outside wide receiver at this point. And then you have a rookie quarterback coming in. Obviously, they're going to run the ball a bunch with Genty and the way Kubiak did things, even in New Orleans, but obviously in Seattle. But you've got a passing game last year that was designed to just feed the one guy who gets open. And if you're into that, if that's kind of your thing, then I really, really struggle to see how you don't come into Las Vegas and go, oh, this is going to be pretty easy. I'm going to feed Brock Bowers because he's the one guy who can actually get open on intermediate, short routes. We can even use him downfield a little bit. But, as far as just like kind of possession, chain moving stuff, like he jumps out like far and away is your best option. Tucker's really going to be more of like a field stretcher. So I guess there always is a little bit of downside with a tight end who's not like an elite inline blocker type that someone could be dumb enough to limit him to like 65% round participation or whatever. But like, I mean, the main sell on Bowers is that like he just is not Juwan Johnson. He is not Elijah Arroyo, who was not a very good pick in the first. I mean, that was a bad pick. He was like, people talking about a smooth route runner he was at the Senior Bowl. He had zero production basically. And it's like, oh, that turned out to be the signal. I just think Bowers is a different animal at tight end than these other tight ends. That's the primary thing here. And I'm looking at a situation that should improve pretty dramatically from last year. I know we kind of made the same case last year that things would improve relative to 2024. And so maybe I'm getting caught up in the hope there again, but I don't know. The last year was so rough with Geno melting down and the offensive line and the coaching that it almost has to improve. And there's still no target competition.
Yeah, I'm totally Lucy in the football with the Raiders coaching staff. I'm like, okay, so those guys didn't work. So Clint Kubiak's definitely gonna work. Mendoza's definitely gonna work. Like I'm prepared to totally erase all the thoughts that I had from last season, completely do the same thing again. The guy that I'm higher on significantly.
Well, you're not, because you have him at 15 with Jacob.
Well, I'm wrong, and this will be the
have
first.
To realize, Pat, you've done a lot of podcasts with Davis over the course of your life. Like what Davis says on air and what's in his rankings, two different.
No, but I like to drill down on that different. My favorite part is to get
Davis
in there
speaking and Davis ranking are two different.
Well, because the rankings, I do the thing that Jacob just wrote the diatribe about not doing, is I do market baking in all my rankings, which so I never get too far away from consensus, except for Justin Jefferson. I am proportionally, I would guess that this is, in terms of like what this player would cost to acquire, both relative to the market and relative to you guys, it's probably our biggest disagreement. And I think my disagreement with you guys would be twofold. First being, even the shittiest version of Kyler Murray is like a 25% improvement on the quarterback play that he had last year, maybe more.
More.
Yeah. And I am so, like, if Justin Jefferson reeled off 1,600 yards and 17 touchdowns this year, is anyone really surprised? No, probably not really at all. Even you want to know a crazy thing?
Again, though.
It took every last little bit of Max Brosmer, every little bit, to finally get Jamar Chase for more career yards per game than Justin Jefferson. It took Max Brosmer crawling through shit to get Jamar Chase finally to more yards per game. Keeping in mind, by the way, that Jamar Chase has missed time with injury in his career. Jefferson never has. I think
if you're doing Shawshank, the better analogy is that Max Brosmer's like the sisters, and Justin Jefferson is our hero. You know what I'm saying?
That's probably more apt. And we're talking like this dude's 26. This is not an old player. This is a player who's got
27 by the time he plays a football game. For what
27. Fair enough.
I think that was Andy Dufresne's age when he went to Shawshank. So.
Nice.
He's got 2 more peak years left. I want Justin Jefferson.
And it was Kurt Cobain when he died, so like it can go
yeah, he's about to be the magic age. He's about to be the Janis Joplin age, the 27 club.
Yeah. Did you guys do? I did a 27 club theme for my 27th birthday, where I just did like a full playlist of all the dead 27-year-olds.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I'm actually into that. I actually like that.
I 27, Davis. You can give it a whirl.
Oh, I'm sure. Buddy. I mean, 27 was so long ago. I can't even tell you, Jacob. Yeah, I would rather have Justin Jefferson than Neighbors. Straight up, like that feels so obvious to me.
I would not, because I would like to get. What is it? 4 years younger?
I have him ahead of Neighbors too.
Because his quarterback's too busy playing Call of Duty. His quarterback can't see him.
That's definitely not why. I assure you that is not my reasoning. To me, it's a trend in Dynasty where I feel like the Dynasty market kind of just like ranks you like you're young until you're not young. 22 all the way to 27, and then it's like one day they wake up and you're 28 and we've like docked a first from you. And I try to be a little bit more gradual in my rankings. And so my only thing I have Jefferson, Lamb, and Amon-Ra all back to back to back. I see Pat does as well, just in a slightly different order. But like, yeah, to me, I want to have a legitimate demarcation between the JSNs and the Neighbors, where you're getting an extra few years, versus Jefferson and Lamb, where like, they need to be hitting 20 plus points per game, I think, realistically, to justify their over 2 firsts level cost, because otherwise, like, you're like 1 year of 15 points per game from like now you're just where AJ Brown is now. And he was a guy that was, round 1 Dynasty asset for a while, and then it hits in a big way. So I think that the threshold of production is really high. I'm confident that as long as Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow are healthy, that Chase is going to be that truly elite producer. But like, even just looking at redraft markets, I'm like, well, Jefferson is like a late first player, similar to where Lamb's going, similar to where Amon-Ra is going.
Right.
So I'm docking him a bit just for the age is really all that it is.
Well, it shouldn't just be the age, to be honest, because it should be the quarterback situation. Kyler Murray is on a 1-year deal and he has a no tag clause. The Vikings could be back in the quarterback wilderness even after a really good season from Kyler Murray. Like, you could have Justin Jefferson turn in a great season, and status quo, he'd be like the 103 in redraft the following year. But it won't be the status quo, most likely. Now, maybe Kyler will be like, hey, this was awesome. I'd love to be here. But, the cap situation for Minnesota like isn't ideal. So it could be the case. I don't know where Kyler Murray's head is going to be at after an awesome year. He has the ability to potentially go hit the open market like Sam Darnold did, but actually have any team that needs a quarterback want him. And I know it's going to be a good quarterback class next year, but let's say you've got like the 20th pick or the 15th pick. I mean, you could end up paying Kyler Murray like a ridiculous amount of money. Think about the Steelers. The Steelers, Rodgers retires and they're like, we're picking 20th and it's like Kyler Murray, or we're just going to be looking for a quarterback for 5 years. Let's just go pay the guy. So Murray might be in a situation where he'd love to stay in Minnesota, but he just like can't not go get the bag. And so he goes and gets the bag. And then at that point, what is Minnesota doing? I mean, I guess Mac Jones would be available. You could go get him or whatever, but it could be a tough situation after the year. It's a lot of uncertainty enough to where I was like, I'm gonna rank Lamb ahead. That's a stable situation for him there. So that was kind of tiebreaker for me.
And Murray's not ideal. I mean, Murray is Murray is way better, way better than like the JJ McCarthy shit, obviously.
Yeah.
But like if you're ranking out quarterbacks for wide receiver fantasy production, like Kyler Murray's not one of your top picks. Like he's a good-ish, not great quarterback who scrambles at a reasonably high rate. Like he's not a guy. There's a reason why, the people who say that the Cardinals offense was better with Jacoby Brissett are wrong, but the people who say that the Cardinals offense was more conducive to fantasy production with Jacoby Brissett are correct, because the drop back conversion rate with Kyler is never going to be that high. Like he's not going to convert dropbacks to targets for pass catchers the same way that Dak Prescott, Joe Burrow, Jared Goff are capable of. Like you would way rather have Jefferson play with any of those guys. So if Kyler's an improvement, but like it's not as good as he used to have it with prime Kirk Cousins. Like Cousins was like a gold mine for fantasy production.
Yeah, and I mean, I think Kyler's one of his weaknesses is that he's not a guy who just, you put into a system and you're like, all right, play point guard. That's not really his thing. So that's where Jacoby Brissett, I think, one person who might have felt like Brissett was playing better would have been Jonathan Gannon, because he's actually running the offense the way it's supposed to be run. So let's have him out there instead. It could go bad. Like it could just be like Kyler's kind of freelancing. And Pat Daugherty made this point on the Road World Football podcast where he's like, Kyler's kind of scored the same. Like his best year is his rookie year, and he's just like never really like gotten better. So, you have like kind of a high floor of Kyler runs. He can do some stuff. But yeah, it's not going to be what it was with JJ McCarthy. That was some of the worst football I've ever seen. And he was not playing point guard either. I don't know what position he was playing. It wasn't point guard.
He was playing pass the ball as fast as humanly possible. Just like it's a game. He was playing pitcher. He was pitching. He was
playing pitcher.
He was a middle reliever. Is what he was doing.
He was on a basketball court and he's ripping fastballs at his teammates' heads. Like, hey man, could you pass us a basketball, please? It's gonna be better than that, but it still might not be great.
We'll get to the JJ McCarthy ranking on hour 5 of this today.
Oh, I don't think he's ranked.
Can we talk Lamar?
Oh, sure. Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to get too far down because Lamar is. I mean, we are getting to the point where we are hitting a fork in the road on Lamar. I'm taking the optimistic view here. To me, like he's just one of these guys that's like he's just built to score a shitload of fantasy points.
Yeah.
And I really like that they got rid of Harbaugh. I mean, it's one of those things too where you're like, man, seems like Harbaugh is kind of petering out in Baltimore. Like he's had such a good run, kind of a shame, and then he goes off to New York and it's like he brings in Matt Nagy as his OC. You're like, oh, like Harbaugh was like completely out of ideas, I guess. And then they bring in Declan Doyle as the OC. I love that hire. I think that's a really fun, exciting hire. And so the upside for me here is all the way back on Lamar. Like there is risk with Lamar Jackson coming off last year, and he's just like he's playing the Bengals and just looking like crap, and which is crazy given how bad their defense was, but. So I do recognize he's riskier than ever, but I think the ceiling is still super high here. And, because of the coaching shift. And I think because of like Lamar did seem pretty much over the current coaching staff that he was dealing with, at the time. And now he gets new head coach, new OC, and potentially some creative stuff being brought in here. So hopefully they add a little bit as far as, in the draft. Because we're still looking at like a similar group of weapons, but the Andrews signing was the extension. I just don't know if you love knowing that a guy was in a power struggle with his coach. Just like in general, I do with the coach was then fired, and then they brought in a really exciting young offensive mind. I like that.
Do you buy that we're reducing Lamar's rushing volume this year? Talk. In general, I never really believe it with a guy who's that good at it, because at the end of the day, you want to win football games, and the easiest way to win football games with Lamar is to have him running. I think my stance on Lamar is that, I mean, he's the cheapest he's basically ever been in seasonal leagues. I talked about that a lot on ADP chasing yesterday. How interesting.
All the quarterbacks are cheaper this year, though.
Well, except for all the late ones. It's like a compression. It's like a big.
Well, sure, but all the elites are cheaper.
Yeah. So like my view of Lamar is like if I want to bet on the bounce back for Lamar, and I will just take a ton of him in seasonal leagues. I think I'm a little less interested in Dynasty because after last year, I'm officially scared of like not really 2026 Lamar, but like 2028 Lamar, and so. It feels like a needle where I'm like buying into Lamar now to hopefully get a really good year, but then I'm probably trying to sell in a year or two before he's like 32, 33. And so I'm probably just good, I think, at like if he's third overall prices or early first prices. And then I'll see what happens. I do feel optimistic for him this year, but like I don't know. I think I would rather just take the age difference. And like I have Jayden Daniels ranked ahead of him. I have Caleb Williams ranked ahead of him. I feel fine about that.
How old was Michael Vick when he was just absolutely torching people? Wasn't he in
his legendary
mid to late
season? 30s? He was 30.
Yeah, but that's a young 30 because he wasn't taking hits in prison.
You would think.
So 20. He put up 32. This is NFC, which is the most fun because they give you the most points. 32 points per game in 2010 in 12 games with Philly, and then hit 20 plus 2 more seasons with Philly in 2011 and 2012, and then it was over. He had 17.
Fair, Lamar is way, way, way better than Michael Vick ever was, like real life,
right?
In Lamar's defense, I'm looking up Randall Cunningham end of career. Well, he had that crazy rebound year in Minnesota when was it Gary Anderson, Morton Anderson? One of the Andersons missed a kick. Anyway.
Gary Anderson. All right. I
think Lamar has multiple seasons of potentially hitting monster seasons, is what I'd say. Like I think he has a 2 to 3 year window of still being able to do like what he did in 2024. So that's where I don't know, but I take your point that the window on getting out is could be closing soon.
Oh, this is stunning. Davis Mattek is the lowest on Caleb Williams.
Wow, I am the lowest. I think something I noticed is
I'm by far the highest, Dave.
By far,
I'm lower. So just a structural thing I noticed while I was doing this. I'm lower on the quarterbacks across the board.
Would you like to apologize to Caleb Williams?
Yeah. Davis, I'm gonna grab some water. Just
would you like to apologize? A lot of apologies need to be made to Caleb Williams.
I mean, here's the deal. I'm just a realist. I'm able to accurately, when the market moves against me, that's fine. I'm just able to I'm able to provide just a sheer light of truth on Caleb Williams, unbiased truth. But if you look at all the rankings, I'm pretty much lower on all the high-end quarterbacks than you guys because I think there's just really, and you kind of hinted at it with the way your picks, the tiers of the picks were disseminated. We're just kind of at a lull for elite fantasy options. And so the very few elite fantasy options that exist, I think they are like more precious than ever.
Well, we're talking about elite fantasy options and high-end quarterbacks, but we're talking about Caleb Williams here. So let's get to that conversation.
Well, we did that bit. So let me do my Joe Burrow bit. I got Joe Burrow at 29.
Yeah. No,
or 24 rather. That's his age 30 season. I mean, I know he was so good in 2024. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I just need to. Maybe I'm just totally wrong, and like he really is this good, and it's Chase and it's T. But like you look at the vast sample of Burrow as a fantasy football quarterback, and he's like really, really good, but not that good. And I guess maybe this is what is allowing me to leak in is the Bengals front office is such a clusterfuck. It's like Joe Burrow, actually even more so than Josh Allen and Mahomes, has the most Sisyphean task in the NFL because he's surrounded by no competence. There's no competence anywhere around that guy.
Every time the boulder moves an inch up the hill, it's worth like 4 fantasy points. Like this dude, everything he's doing, it's all just fantasy friendly. It's fantasy friendly incompetence. Like they can't figure out a way to keep their defensive end. You know, they can't figure out a way
Awesome.
to.
I guess you know what? I guess that's true. I
All the
honestly,
confidence
I,
works in his
coordinator.
favor.
Yeah,
I
it's
really
great.
had not. I had
They
not
keep
thought
Zach
of it
Taylor,
that way.
who's like an
Keep
idiot,
Zach
but
Taylor.
like he's willing to just let Joe Burrow throw it 700 times. So
All
that's
he
fine.
does is just call passes, no matter what. Like
Yeah.
it's great. It's not optimal. It's definitely not optimal. But as far as like a disastrous overall kind of decision making group could be, it's pretty good. It's working out pretty well. And then they're locked into stuff now. They're locked into Chase and T, and Burrow is the core of this team for a while. You know, so they're gonna have to pass the ball.
And I mean, Burrow is the one guy too. I mean, injuries and like maybe he just grows to like hate his life so much he retires at 34. But like outside of him pulling an Andrew Luck or suffering a career-ending injury, he's also the guy that I have no concerns will like still be an elite real-life quarterback at like 39. Like his arm strength is already not that great. He doesn't run. So like he gets there on accuracy and reading defenses. Like, and that's not going away. Like I think he's the guy who like at age 42 could still be a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. Cause like what he does is untethered really to his athleticism.
You think he could like come out of retirement, let's say, just kind of randomly, and
He's going to be great on the Colts in 2037.
All right, you know what? I'm not going to move him up to where Pat has him, but I will move him up. I will move him
to me,
up.
he's a guy where you say, hey, any discount, you're kind of going through some of these, any discounts on Joe Burrow? Great. I'm going to take the discount on Joe Burrow. He is a guy who's going to age pretty well, to Jacob's point. So you don't have to take him at 9, but I would love to get Joe Burrow. That's a ranking, not a strict trade value. Try to squeeze out some market juice.
Because I'm seeing a very vast discrepancy of my ranking on him versus where you guys are at.
I mean, we talked about this on ADP chasing a bit on Tuesday, but like I just am such a fan. Now, the short term of Achane, if he is not traded, it's going to be painful. It's probably going to be you're going to get some 6-pointers in there in 2026.
I haven't really been paying much attention to the Dolphins offseason. What are you saying?
Anything
Anything been going on there? He's still got Mike McDaniel. It'll be fine.
I mean, that's where I'm at. Look, it brings me no pleasure to have to be the low man on Devon Achane. I mean, I'm praying he gets traded because I want to draft him. He's like one of my favorite players in the NFL. He's one of my favorite prospects ever that I've scouted. But like, yeah, I mean this situation to me is super bleak. And I don't think that the market is right. I've seen a lot of like bullishness on like, there's nobody there. He's going to get 150 targets. I don't think that's really how it works for running backs.
No.
I think that this team is going to attempt like 420 passes. There's not going to be a ton of checkdowns. I'm sure they're going to design some screens for him. I'm sure he'll catch some passes. He's great at it. But like, I would way rather Mike McDaniel be there for his passing volume. And like, as much as they want to run the ball, I mean, if it's Malik Willis and this non-existent wide receiver core, I mean, defenses are going to put 9 guys in the box and just say, like, go ahead and run the ball. Like, it's just going to be a slog, I think, and there's going to be a lot of middling games. There's a very high risk of, oops, I turned my ankle. We're putting you on season-ending IR in week 12 because we're 1-11. It's a bleak situation for this year. And at the running back position, for a fourth-year guy, like, I have to primarily look at the near term. I mean, look at how much value Breece Hall's lost over time. I still think Breece Hall's a really, really good player, but he went from a guy who was like a late first round of startups player to nowhere close to that now. And I don't really think much of it's his fault, but he's just been trapped in this very useless situation the last couple of years. And so I view Achane as following probably a similar path to Breece Hall, and it makes me very leery of him in Dynasty formats, unfortunately.
So Devon Achane's a free agent after the year. And I guess you could be the problem with the Dolphins contract stuff is that they're eating a lot of the stuff this year in terms of the cap pain. So maybe they would franchise tag Achane after the season.
I think they certainly would. If they're not willing to trade him, same thing I said about Hall. If they're not willing to trade him, then they're going to retain him. They're going to extend him or tag him.
Yeah, I think that you could also though be looking at him getting traded this year.
I hope.
I could see him being traded like after night 1 of the draft. Jeremiah Love goes. Maybe the Seahawks take Jadarian Price at the end of the first or something. Which I think didn't DJ just have that recently? And then
Give me a break on that, man. Enough. Enough.
I mean,
with Jadarian Price.
Let's just say it happened. Just for this hypothetical, it's happened. The 2 running backs that anyone really wants are gone, and so maybe you're the Commanders and you're like, screw it, let's go get a running back.
I agree with this. I also said that on ADP chasing. Like, I think it's way more live that team just says fuck it. Like, let's just trade a first for Devin Achane.
I don't think a first. I don't think you can't give a first for 1 year of a contract.
Well, the Seahawks can. Seahawks can. Pick a 32. Why not?
I don't think you can. I mean, if you're going to spend it on Jadarian Price, you might as well. But I don't think that's good business. But, maybe no one should do this is really part of the problem. But I think you could see someone send like a late second or something or a third. Or maybe that it's that, the Dolphins get to trade up as part of the deal, plus you send a pick. But I think that the Dolphins have to be. I mean, I understand that they're like, we're not trading Achane, but like, yeah, right. Like, this is a complete teardown. If they got a good enough offer, they'd trade him. That's just the way this works. Like, they're basically saying, we've gotten some offers on Devon Achane, and they were insulting, so go away. Right? That's much more likely than them actually not being interested in trading a running back when they're doing a complete reset.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm sure they would trade him if they got the offer that they got for Waddle. The reason why I think running back trades happen so infrequently is that when you have the player, they feel more valuable, and like the average Dolphins fan, I bet, would be like Devon Achane. Even when Waddle was on the team, would be like, Devon Achane's our best player. He's our most valuable player. Like, he's our franchise player. And so I think the optics of trading Achane for like the 58th overall pick just like suck, and teams can't bring themselves to do it. But then also the acquiring teams that would be interested are like, we're not trading a first round pick for a second contract running back. Get out of here. So like, it just, I think what ends up happening is they just don't get traded, because like Christian McCaffrey did, and everybody was like dogpiling on the Panthers, like, you traded the best player in this for your franchise for a second round pick, like, you guys are a bunch of idiots. Like, so I think it's just hard to justify trading a player who's as high profile as Achane is for not a first, and then no team is going to justify trading a first, I think, for Achane. I mean, hey, if the Vikings were like, we're going to trade the 16th overall pick for Devon Achane, like, he's skyrocketing back.
I just don't think it would take a first. Because like, normally I would agree with you, but you know what else teams don't do? They don't take a $99 million cap hit. They don't do that. That just doesn't happen. Well, the Dolphins just did, and then they traded away their only good receiver. So, I mean, there's lots of things that teams don't do that the Dolphins are going to be doing this offseason. I think trading Achane potentially, on the draft, as I was saying, potentially heading into the summer, potentially at the deadline. Like, Achane is going to be, there's going to be calls about Achane, all the way through the final hours of the trade deadline, because it just makes sense for them to get an expiring running back deal off their books for a pick. It's a good move. It might not be a popular move, but like, it's just like, this is a dynasty team that has one good player. This is a dynasty team that only has Devon Achane, and like their number, they're like,
I was in a dynasty league.
Zacchaeus in week 1 currently.
You're describing Evan Silva in all the dynasty leagues I'm in with him.
They're starting Theo Weiss in the flex, bro.
Yeah. I was in a dynasty league where Silva gave up his team, where his player was Christian McCaffrey, and then like Theo Weiss Jr. And then he gave the team up.
This is a team that thinks it might compete this year because they binged Chris Rodriguez going to the Jaguars. Now they've got 2 starting running backs. Devon Achane and Chris Rodriguez, baby. Like, dude, just get the pick while you can.
Pat, why do you hate Luther Burden? Why Luther Burden at 46? Jacob and I perfectly aligned. We each have Luther Burden at 32. That I'm surprised to see this coming from you, Pat.
Yeah, I haven't been quite as high on Luther Burden. I think you're higher than me in redraft as well, right, Jacob?
If anyone's higher than Luther, like when stores do like a price match guarantee promotion, where they're like, look, we have a pretty good sale on this stove, but if you can find the cheaper version of this stove in any other store, bring us the flyer, and we'll price match. I have a Luther Burden rank match guarantee. I can't promise you that I'm the highest on him, but if you find anyone higher, bring me their spreadsheet and I'll move them up.
I've got him at like 38, 39, 40-ish in that range. I think Jacob is slightly higher than me.
Same. I think I want to say I have him at 37.
So
I'm totally comfortable taking him there.
I think when I look at watching the Bears and kind of looking at what the future of this offense looks like, to me, the best player on the offense looks like Colston Loveland as far as the weapons go.
I agree with that.
And you've got Burden, who I was drafting the crap out of last year. So, I am generally, I think, a Burden bull. But it took him a long time to kind of eat into DJ Moore. And I think Rome Odunze does, maybe he's like kind of a little bit better version of Romeo Dobbs or something. Like maybe he's not that great, but he does his stuff. And I think will continue to earn targets as well. I guess with Burden, this feels like one of those fork in the road players where he's either going to ascend as like the Bears number one, or he's going to fall, fairly significantly from where you guys have him ranked based on this one season. And I'm just not, I guess if I was going to take that chance and that leap of faith, I'm more comfortable doing it in redraft or best ball. In Dynasty, I think you're a little bit like, this guy did fall to the second round, and it did take him a long time to establish himself as, he never really pushed DJ Moore out of the starting role. He was just kind of making himself part of the rotation. It took him a long time to even be ahead of Zacchaeus. So as far as like what the expectations for him are this year, I think it's that he's their clear number one. And I'm not sure that there even will be a clear number one receiver because of Loveland carving out a pretty big role as a pass catcher as well. So that's part of it. And then I don't anticipate this being a team that's going to embrace high pass volume either. I think they want to be, running the ball and working off the run game in kind of that classic Ben Johnson way as well. So if the pie split up a bit and there's not a ton of pass volume, then I think Burden could just be one of those dudes who disappoints in not a way that's like, it's like, oh yeah, he's pretty good, but he's just not going to be like an alpha. But that would be enough for him to lose a bunch of value from, a 32 rank.
So while we're on Burden and the Bears, where do we all have Loveland ranked? Is he up a bit, I assume?
Yes.
Can you scroll up?
Colston Loveland, I've got him 26.
So I'm also the highest on Loveland. I guess this explains why I'm also by far the highest on Caleb Williams.
You're a Bears guy.
Every Bear.
We're pretty aligned on Loveland, though. It's not a huge gap.
We're pretty in line on Loveland, 25, 26, and 30. I agree. I think he's the best player on the offense. He was my favorite player in the whole draft last year, regardless of position. And I think he's a superstar. I think Burden can be a superstar. I agree he's more high variance because we haven't seen him in that full-time role. I'm just very willing to take bets on players like Burden, where I think you characterized it perfectly. He's either going to ascend or drop. But I think of all the players in his group, like Burden is the one I can probably most easily sell myself on going in like the first round of Dynasty startups next year. And I'm craving those scarce assets, the guys that I could talk myself into being worth 3 firsts. Like it's more important to me that a guy who's worth like a first and a half ascends into the top 15 total assets than if I lose a bit of value and he falls back to being worth a late first. Because there's like a glut of players in that range. And I just think he is uniquely high upside of the players in his tier because of what he flashed year one, because of what he flashed in his college profile, back to his recruiting pedigree even. And And so I'm just willing to take a pretty big swing on the projection for a player like that. And I'm just extremely into this offense. You mentioned they won't have a super high pass, but that's probably true. But like there is a lot of aggression with Ben Johnson. Like if they're ahead and they're winning, they'll run the ball, sure.
That's
but
true.
Like they're also a team going back to even when he was with the Lions. If they're behind, they will pass, and not only will they pass, but they'll go for it on a million fourth downs, and like they'll juice total play volume by doing that because they want to keep the ball. Like this isn't a team, as long as Ben Johnson coaches them, that I think will ever accept losing. Like they're a team that's going to play as hard as they need to play to win, and that can give us chances for fantasy production across the board. I'm pretty low on a Dunze, but I'm really, really high on both Loveland and Burden and Caleb by default, because like I don't even think Caleb was that amazing last year, and he was still a really great fantasy quarterback. And so like imagine if he actually was amazing, how great of a fantasy quarterback he could be going into the future years.
Yeah, you sold me a little bit there. I'm probably a little too low. I'm going to bring him into like more in the mid 30s, I think.
Yeah, Jacob apparently very sick of Trevor Lawrence's shit after being his biggest defender. You're way lower on him. I'm trying to think about who else.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm gonna have to like reevaluate that rating, because I had someone in my comments the other day being like, "Why do you hate Trevor Lawrence?" And I was like, "This is a really weird position to find myself."
Oh,
in.
here's
I don't know. It's weird. Like, I mean, he had the great finish to last year, which is awesome. I don't know. I guess I'm just not like 100% sure that that's just who Trevor Lawrence is now. He's not that young. He doesn't run that much. So like, I'm still projecting him to be like a
Liam Cohen, man.
Liam Cohen rules.
Liam Cohen rules.
But like, I
Give
don't
me
know.
Liam Cohen's quarterback.
Is it 20? How old is he? 27. Trevor Lawrence.
That sounds right.
20. Yeah, he turns 27 in like week 4 next year. So like, I don't know how. Is a 27-year-old low-end QB1 like a top 20, top 30 player in Dynasty? For me, it's not. I need like the true top 5 upside for me to be super interested in the quarterback position. Otherwise, I tend to push them down. But I don't know. I'm excited to see Trevor Lawrence has that kind of value. Maybe I'll move him up a bit. Where do I have him now? I have him, probably too low. I'll move him up a tier. How about that? There we go.
All right. Well, I am by far the highest on Treveyon Henderson. Pat has him at 55. Jacob has him at 47. So let me try and sell you guys.
Please do. I would love to be sold on Treveyon Henderson.
He had the most 50-yard or more touchdowns amongst running backs in the National Football League last season. We saw a nice little 6.5 game stretch from Ramondre Stevenson. I mean, I think we all know that can disappear very quickly. It sounds like, based on the reporting, a lot of what New England was not enthused about with Henderson actually had very little to do with his ability on the field, and it was more like attention to detail. He was this incredibly good pass. Well, is it though? Because that's the kind of thing you can fix.
It's the thing you can't fix. It's a personality trait. You're in the NFL. I don't know. Like you couldn't pay attention to details. That sounds like a you problem.
All right, let me try and sell it to you this way. This is a guy who played 4 years at like the bluest of blue blood college football program, very high serious expectations at Ohio State, was renowned as the best pass blocking running back in his class, ended up being a poor pass blocker as a rookie. Now that can just be the kind of small sample size type thing.
No college running backs are actually good pass blockers, I think.
I think that is a totally reason. I think it's a totally reasonable way
you got to learn how to
frame
do
it.
Pros.
I really like Treveyon Henderson as a prospect. I like being attached to Drake Maye. I like being attached to Josh McDaniel. And I just maybe this is wrong of me, but I just don't know if I see Josh McDaniel as that or Ramondre Stevenson rather as that serious of an impediment. Like I think this is a good running back in a good situation, and it seems that you guys are not viewing it that way.
I think he obviously has. Go ahead.
I think we're going to say the same thing, to be honest. I'm cautiously optimistic on Treveyon Henderson, but like the playoff stuff is very spooky.
Yeah.
And there's just a possibility that like frankly, there's a probability that they take the field the first week of September. Ramondre Stevenson is seeing 65% of the touches and snaps, and then Treveyon is like gettable for like an early 2. And like I'm probably gonna buy at that price. But like I don't know that this offseason is the greatest possible time to buy a Treveyon Henderson, because it would just really surprise me if coming off of this Super Bowl run, they come out in the very early season and they're like, the plan we've been thinking of this offseason is just to like reinstall Henderson as RB1. Like I think he's gonna have to earn that back over a sustained period of time by outplaying Stevenson. And so I've struggled to get in on his ADP in best ball as well. But like at least in best ball, like things are locked, right? So it's like you have to take him in the summer at whatever the price is if you want him, and then see how things work. But I think in Dynasty, I'm probably content to let some people be more optimistic if they want to be, and be a little bit more picky with my price. And then if things go well, then great. But if they don't, like I can just buy in a month into the season. I would be really surprised if like in the first couple of weeks it's just Hendo's taken over the backfield and he's shooting up by 2 rounds of value. That would really surprise me.
Yeah, it's the playoffs that concern me. You know, they were just not using him. They're running the ball nonstop against the Broncos. He had 3 attempts. They were just, you know, it was a Ramondre game. He did have the explosive runs. If you look at like his next gen stuff, he had 149 rush yards over expected, which is pretty good, especially because he didn't have that many carries. And he had a 39.8%, so 40% success rate. That's pretty good. So he's not like this super boom bust type of runner. He's just kind of like fairly consistent, and then the boom was there. But Ramondre, he had 176 rush yards over expected, 45% success rate. So, you know, also just very solidly churn out chunk gains. Ramondre's under contract next year, the year after, the year after that, actually, although at that point they could save like $10 million by cutting him. So maybe you can kind of consider it like he's going to be there next year, and they have a reasonable team option basically for the next 2 years after that. But this is also a spot where it wouldn't surprise me if like Ramondre got cut after next year and we're like, we're free. Treveyon's been freed. And then they like draft a running back in the 2nd or 3rd round, or that they sign someone in free agency or something. Like this could be one of those spots that just consistently frustrating, because they might have an idea of what Henderson is that doesn't match what is fantasy friendly, right? And he does things that I don't actually think are worth spending a 2nd round pick on, but teams love explosive plays. So like putting him out there and him running for a couple 40-yard touchdowns in a game, even though you're not using him that much, like they love that shit. You know, it doesn't mean that they're now going to load him up with touches and throw him 5-6 targets a game. Like he might not get to that. And I don't think he's going to get to that to start next year. I think over the course of the season, he might displace Ramondre. I think there's upside there that he just emerges as a superstar as the season progresses. But yeah, in September, people are going to be like, what the hell is this? So I don't mind just kind of being a little bit cooler on Treveyon Henderson. You'll probably get a buy window in September on him. I agree with that.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable. All right, Lad McConkey is another This might be the biggest spread we have of a player who is like was a top 2-round pick last year. Kerrane has him at 37. How the fuck am I not the low man on a Charger? I've got him at 51, and Jacob has him at 67. I mean, honestly, if I had to choose right now, 37 or 67, I'm definitely going 67. Pat, give me the bull case on.
It's funny because 51 is closer to 37.
Well, you know, I mean, when you're ranking guys, you got to just put them somewhere.
I mean, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Mike McDaniel's game, but like this guy, he doesn't mind small players, and he gets the good players the ball. So I don't know. I'm buying McDaniel, and I'm buying that McConkey is ultimately a lot better than Quentin Johnston or, you know, Keenan Allen if he even comes back, or Trey Harris. Like, this is an offense that should be funneling targets to the guys who get open now. And I think McConkey fits that extremely well. So I do want to be betting on the Chargers offense. I think McConkey is kind of the easiest way, I guess, other than Herbert in Superflex. But I thought he was awesome as a rookie. Last year was disappointing. It's not a Brian Thomas situation where the team is now going to potentially be like doing other stuff, or there's trade rumors or whatever. It's just a reasonable enough bounce back spot given that McDaniel's there. And then also you had all the offensive line issues where the passing game was just sort of like,
well, everything always gets resolved
weeks.
for the Chargers. The Chargers don't have the worst ongoing buried, the stadium constructed on, an ancient indigenous.
Do you have that baked into your model,
ground?
the ancient burial ground doc? How much did you?
Oh, it's a serious doc, dude.
That?
It's I just
okay, all right. I don't have a burial ground doc in mind. So.
Any model I build has if LAC minus 7% versus market is immediately.
I don't have a Charger specific luck doc. I will lift the hood and.
Well, Jacob is even. I'm almost right at. I'm 4 spots lower than the market rank. Jacob is way off market on Lad McConkey.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'll reevaluate this one because I've always been a Lad fan. I think I liked him the most out of the 3 of us as a prospect. I was really into him after his rookie year. Last year was rough. Really couldn't separate from a group of receivers that I think is quite poor. Despite getting a ton of route volume, it was just not very effective. And I agree with all the McDaniel.
I mean, he got frame mugged by Quentin Johnston. Let's just be honest about it. He was jester maxing.
Okay.
Not quite. Not quite. The thing
I don't know. I just don't know what to think of Lad McConkey, to be honest. Like I wish that I had the group of players that I have the least clear thoughts on, and I'm gonna have to spend like a week where I just like block out the world like a monk and just fast and just think about these 4 players as the group of 4 year 3 wide receivers: Rome, Lad, Thomas, and Marv. Because I think that getting that group right might be like one of the biggest keys to fantasy this year in terms of.
And you don't think you can do that if you eat?
Avoiding a huge miss. Well, I've been eating so far and I can't figure it out. So maybe if I stop. So it's just I'm open to all options. Is basically it. I legitimately don't know what to think. I would love to be as optimistic as you are.
Can I make the case that I'm not actually that optimistic?
Sure.
This is a 24-year-old wide receiver who has a best ball ADP of 39. And then if you want to kind of add dynasty, like long-term stability stuff, the head coach is in place.
He seems really high.
Well, I mean, that's where he's going. And you've got Davis won't stop talking about how elite his quarterback is. And he's got
an MVP vote. He's got an MVP quarterback.
Got an MVP vote getting quarterback. He's got a really.
You guys, the propaganda when fucking Mike McDaniel is dialing up his dumb bullshit screens to get Justin Herbert an extra 7 passing touchdowns. I'm already apoplectic.
Hey, if they're going to Lad, I'm good, man.
Dude, the 9-8 Chargers.
Are you for Justin Herbert to rack up 9.2 yards per attempt on the back of Keaton Mitchell turning 31 receptions into 400 yards and 6 touchdowns?
Well, I did bet sacrilegious. He gave me 10-1 on Keaton Mitchell outscoring Amari and Hampton straight up. So I think that would work in my favor.
You have Keaton there?
Yeah, I got, of course, Amari and Hampton.
Is there a games limit there, or just raw points?
We've not come down to final.
I think Sack got it in good
yet.
10-1 seems a little low to me. I don't
Sack
know.
for sure got it in good, but I got it in fun, which is
you got it in fun.
Important.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
So this actually, I view Brian Thomas Jr. and Lad McConkey as 2 sides of the same coin. Other than that, Brian Thomas Jr.'s rookie season was more impressive, and the frame mugging was done by Parker Washington, not by Quentin Johnston. Now, you guys...
Other than Thomas goes like 21 picks later in drafts right now as well.
Right. I mean, but if you look at if you run the comp of like first 2-round picks, 1,500 yards, first two seasons, 12, like they're in the same cadre.
Well, like if you zoom out, they're very similar, right? But if you zoom in, the issues I think are different in that.
Correct.
Brian Thomas, I'm actually still pretty sure is good at the things that he was good at as a rookie.
Yep.
But then is in this spot that really disadvantages
devalued by the team because the coaching changed.
So like it makes me both way less optimistic on him this year because like I don't know what would change necessarily about last year, but also like pretty optimistic that if he were to go somewhere else, I think he could be very good again. Ladd is more like inexplicable to me. Like nothing really changed last year from the previous year. I don't understand why he just played way worse. And like I don't know what to expect this year. Like is he going to play better again or is he going to play bad again? Like I just don't know why he wasn't good last year.
I think the Keenan signing hurt, and I mean I'm hopeful that they don't bring Keenan back because I feel like you're kind of like you're doing things with Keenan that you could do with Ladd, but Keenan does them well enough that you do them with Keenan, and then it limits what you end up doing with Ladd, who's better. But I mean, that offense, like, there's worlds where he has a really fun season, I think. Maybe it's a bit of an up and down season, but they were passing above expectation in those first few weeks. But they lose Slater before the year. They lose Alt for, on and off throughout the year, but big chunk of the year. The offensive line just crumbles. They were like giving up on the passing game at times last year. So I think that is part of it, right? Like they couldn't sustain passing game success because of the injuries. And then also it's like, Greg Roman has kind of run its course. Greg Roman always runs his course, and the course was run. And so now we get Mike McDaniel. I mean, to me, that's a pretty big upgrade. Again, especially from like, hey, I'm looking for a guy who can funnel targets to the clear cut best guy at getting open in an offense. He's not a guy who like messes around with getting targets to the Quentin Johnsons of the world. So I'm very optimistic specifically for Ladd with McDaniel coming in.
Yeah, and you're going to get a high rate of 12 personnel stuff, which is going to be nice for Ladd McConkey, presumably, as long as he's in those 12 personnel.
As long as he's in those sets. If he's not in those sets, then this ranking sucks.
Yeah, I mean, I'll move him up. Also, if we get part of this is like my math on the Chargers isn't mathing because I'm optimistic on the offense as a whole, but I'm low on almost every part of it. Which I guess the only way that works out is like if
that's the burial ground doc.
They draft someone
the burial ground doc,
or whatever. But like if we get through the draft, we get through the offseason, they haven't traded for AJ Brown, they haven't signed Brandon Ayuk or whatever, they haven't drafted someone in the first round. Like then, and it's just this group. Then, like, I agree. Ladd is the best guy to bet on of this active group because there's a lot of environmental factors that are going strongly in his favor. Within the Mike.
But even if they did, like, if they drafted like Chris Brazzell or Ted Hurst, like, I don't think that doesn't change anything for me. Like, it's whatever. It's probably that guy's probably taking Quentin Johnson's job over the course of the year.
Round one, Chargers round one pick. Is it like 22 or something like that?
If they take Denzel Boston, I'm not going to be.
What if they take Kenyon Sadiq?
That would suck for Gadsden because they already
really
we have Gadsden at home.
Really
like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm not sure that Sadiq is better than Gadsden. Can we be honest about that? Do we
I'm
definitely not sure of that.
Gadsden's a good player.
I hit it exactly. By the way, they have the 22nd overall pick. Like, what if they take Jordan Tyson? That's bad.
That would be bad. Jordan Tyson would be bad, but I don't think he'll be there.
All right, here's something in this exercise I did not expect. The high man on Jamison Williams.
Oh, for fuck's sakes.
Jakob Sanderson.
Delete.
Dude, he loves Jameson. He won't shut up about it.
No way.
He loves
in our
Jameson.
chat, he's just talking about, guys, they're going to feed him targets this year. He's running more intermediate routes.
Okay, I'm moving him down.
Yeah, I think you.
This is clearly like.
Jacob talks his big game about how he wants receivers.
I guess I thought I was capitulating but I overcapitulated.
That should show you how good Jameson Williams has been. That you thought about capitulating.
I overcapitulated. Like, I think I was just so fucking sick of hearing about Jameson Williams that I was like, fine, I'll like move him up to like wherever I need to, where it's not a point of conversation. But if I'm lower than you guys, then like let's move him down.
Let the record show that I'm a man of principles. Okay, that I stand by my beliefs. Jameson Williams, 74. Might even lower him a little more.
Yeah. Okay. Cam Ward, 59th overall for Jacob. Pat and I have him much lower, 77 and 83, respectively. I'm assuming that this is Jacob just saying he's going to keep this rookie, like he's a starting quarterback for the next 3 years. This is basically
he's not. He's not.
I'm kind of with the hand in the dirt bros on Cam Ward a little bit.
Are you? Okay, tell me. Tell me about it.
A little bit.
Tell me about it.
I mean, he makes some impressive throws, man.
He does,
and he
really does.
Rookie quarterbacks, like I get he was bad even among rookie quarterbacks, but rookie quarterbacks are often bad, and a lot of them rebound year two. You as mean as you want to be to Cam Ward, like you have to admit, like his situation was an absolute mess. He was throwing to like Calvin Ridley's washed corpse and a bunch of day 3 rookies and Van Jefferson. They had a completely incompetent coach who was fired and replaced with another completely incompetent coach. Their O-line's okay, I guess. They didn't.
Their coach was Josh Rosen's coach. They promoted Josh Rosen.
Yes,
the guy who was Josh Rosen's coach.
Yes.
Like I know just the trick. Bring in the guy who helped Josh Rosen succeed.
To be honest, like I would give Cam Ward a full round ADP bump just for there was a game against the Colts where Mike McCoy punted at like on 4th and 1 at like the Colts 45 with 2 minutes left, and Cam Ward just started screaming at him and was like, are you a complete moron? Like, what are you doing, basically? And I was like, all right, like this guy gets it. Like he knows that like that Mike McCoy's a fucking asshat.
You added a third round dynasty pick to his value chart.
Yeah, I was like, good for him for being woke. I don't know, like. I'm not totally sure what to think of Brian Daboll, the NFL coach, but I'm pretty in on Brian Daboll, the fantasy point creator, for his offenses. Wandale is like, again, I don't know what to think of him as a real life ad, but I think he's a helpful piece to get him something. They're almost certainly going to take some offensive skill players in the NFL draft, potentially even at 4. Both Tate and Love are in the mix there. If they don't take one at 4, they'll probably circle back and take one in the early second round. There's hope on the offensive line. They got some young guys. They got some good guys. I don't know. I'm just like into the idea of a bounce back. And most of all, the ceiling is high from a dynasty value perspective, because if you get a young quarterback that people decide is good, which we're very unsure of right now with Cam Ward, Pat might be sure, then all of a sudden it's like he would jump into being like a round 3 pick next offseason if people just decided, okay, he's good. So like once we get into this range of drafts, it seems like a pretty decent value equation bet. And I don't think the downside is that low. I think he would have to be putrid to not make it to 2027 as the starter.
The problem is that he was putrid last year. And so, yeah, like he did have some moments like in game. I think he had some cool plays, but his like, if you look at his season-long stuff, it was atrocious. I mean, like Zach Wilson kind of level EPA and success rate type stuff. And it like at the end of the season, he did kind of at least turn in a couple games. So he's like 61st percentile a couple times. He hit that mark twice down the stretch in EPA per play. But like for much of the season, he didn't hit 50th until he hit 61st percentile against Seattle down the back half of the season. And often he was turning in like single digit 5th, 4th, 6th type games. So it was like, his ability to actually run an NFL offense for a full game just simply was not there last year. And it's like Will Levis-y, it's Anthony Richardson-y, where it's like the cool plays look cool, but there's like not enough of them. And he doesn't run really. So it's all with his arm, but he has arm talent. Does he have the ability to play quarterback? Last year would have been a pretty big data point saying no. He wasn't a good prospect for a number 1 overall pick. It was the NFL telling us no, this guy's good. Like that was really the biggest reason to be in on him, is that the NFL liked him. Okay, that means a lot. Like quarterbacks who go number one, generally aren't like total busts. Like they can kind of play most of the time. So some open-mindedness there, but coming out of this past season, I would say you are kind of in Zach Wilson territory, at least like Bryce Young territory, who was benched in his second season. Now he came back from that. He recovered from that. But we're dealing
Young
with
had no tools. Like and I think that matters. Like,
Ward's got tools, but he like makes horrendous mistakes and he takes sacks. Like he's the type of guy where, like, we just can't, the offense just can't sustain drives with this dude. Like you could be in that situation. Like the floor, I think, is really low here. And what we're seeing with the NFL is like, this is not 2006 or whatever, where like a franchise quarterback just gets like 3-4 years to just tank games. Like they're benching guys. They're moving on, right? Like the Richardson experiment's done. The JJ McCarthy thing is completely done. He got 1 year, first round pick. He got 1 year over. If it goes poorly this year, that could be the last year. That's not what we're used to. We're used to these quarterbacks having a little bit of built-in floor when they're the number one overall pick. You're going to get 2, 3, 4 years to show what you can do. I don't know that he gets that. I think if he sucks this year like he did last year from an actual, statistical point of view, even if he puts up some cool highlights, he could get benched this year. Like he could be benched during the season this year, and he could certainly head into next year and be like a very shaky type of guy where people aren't going to give you full value because they're worried he gets benched.
I mean, I do think Kerrane is probably closer to right. The thing that I wonder is, what is the path to replacing him? I know people say the 2027 class is much better than the 2026 class in terms of the quarterbacks, but so you got Dante Moore. I was not big on Dante. I mean, obviously you've got Arch.
Arch could be something.
Arch could be something. Arch could be
something. Arch started weak this past year, but he recovered a bit.
I'm thinking Kerrane is probably right, and it's not. It would be a spot where, like, if I could get out of Cam Ward for like the Jared Goff price, like, I need a quarterback. I'll give you a first. I think I'm doing it.
Yeah, I mean, I think I have Goff ranked higher, but like, I don't. The path.
I think you have. It looks like you have Ward 10 picks higher.
Do I?
If I'm looking at it right.
Well, it turns out that I do. And that's probably something I should reevaluate.
Yeah.
I think
it's whatever.
I think the meta is shifting a little bit. The NFL meta is shifting where like these guys just don't have as long a leash as they used to. Do you guys agree with me on that?
I actually completely agree with you on that, where it's like teams are just ready to bail and move on and do the next thing. I
mostly do. The only difference that I would say is that like the fantasy community remains way lower on Ward than the way that NFL media and Titans media talks about Ward. Like there's no whispers in NFL circles that like Cam Ward is a bust. Like you listen to like the mainstream NFL talk, they're still very bullish on Ward. They think his rookie season was more good than bad. Yeah. So like the way that people talked about JJ or A-Rich or Zach Wilson or whatever is like not the way that Ward is talked about. I think his leash is longer than the leash would be for a guy with his statistical profile because his rep, I think, remains pretty strong. Obviously, has a bad year this year, that rep will crumble, but I'm also just going to go ahead and move him right in behind Jared Goff. So he's going to slot in now at a nice 69 in my rankings.
Very nice. You're right about that.
Sell you guys on Kyle. Oh, go ahead, Pat.
You are correct that as far as like, and there could be something that like we're missing here stats wise, where there's kind of like he has a very high approval rating from the film evaluators. He does stuff where they're seeing like traits that he can build on as the situation around him improves. I tend to think that they're overestimating like the small sample of good and way too willing to throw out the much larger sample of bad, and that his situation frankly isn't really like that bad compared to like what Drake Maye was able to do 2 years ago. That was a worse situation, and he was much, much stronger in these same metrics. Like when a quarterback plays this inefficiently, I think our base, like the baseline assumption should be like, this dude can't play. Now, maybe we move up from there. They're like, okay, maybe there's a chance he can play actually, because he does some good stuff. But
I mostly agree with you. I'm not even as much bringing that stuff up to say that we're like evaluating him too harshly. It's more just about the longevity. Like for instance, like I saw a poll. I can't remember the article, but I saw one like shortly after the NFL season where they were like re-ranked to 2025 quarterbacks. I'm like, almost every NFL like non-fantasy person was like, yeah, definitely Ward is still way better than Dart. And I'm like, that doesn't make any fucking sense to me. Like, I think that's wrong.
Yeah,
but
that's
it's just interesting that like certain guys seem to just have different reputations where like Dart's reputation in the league, until or unless he like completely puts away any doubters, is like all of the NFL people are like constantly waiting for the other shoe to drop, right? Like coming off his rookie season, there was like a groundswell when Dante Moore, when it looked like the Giants might pick 2 and it looked like Moore was going to declare, there was like a bunch, like Nate Tice was like going on being like, I think the Giants should move on from Jackson Dart and like take Dante Moore 2nd overall. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Like that's nuts. But like there was a bunch of NFL draft people saying it. Nobody was ever saying that about the Titans. And part of that's just the draft capital. But it's just a weird thing where there's a disconnect between how the fantasy community sees Ward and how NFL people see Ward. And I think that is going to give him a longer leash than we would normally see if someone had his numbers. That's all.
I think with Dart, what kind of everyone sees is that this guy has a specific style of football where he's never going to be like the best quarterback, but he could be like a pretty good quarterback that you can win games with. With Ward, there are people who I think see traits where they're like, if you got the right guys around him and the right coaching, like he could be an MVP. Like I'm seeing things that like very few people can do. This guy's got incredible gifts. Like give me that guy all day. What I would say is like, you're seeing that interspersed with like horrendous game killing mistakes and just like kind of sustained failure really over the course of a game. Like it's not enough to flash those traits if you can't, operate an offense that moves the ball consistently and moves the chain. So that's, I mean, to me, I would kind of compare him to Zach Wilson a little bit, where like the cool stuff looks cool, but I don't think there's going to be enough of like a high enough success rate.
Too small.
I mean, I think Zach Wilson's problem is that he's like looking for big plays and not just willing to like operate an offense and just play consistent down to down quarterback, right? Plus, I don't know. His instincts are horrendous. I think Ward is ultimately better than Wilson, but it reminds me of that where it's like there are flashes of things. I understand why you would have thought this guy could be really good if he puts it together, but
when you watch like 3 plays from him that are good, you're like, oh well, yeah, this guy's awesome.
Yeah,
right.
He's awesome.
Like,
yeah.
The ball. Like I was watching Chiga Conquo stuff the other day, and I was like, dude, I mean, Cam Ward, right? I mean, look at the ball just spin out of his hand, and then you're like, oh God, no, wait, no, why? Why did he do that? I didn't even see that you could take a sack there. Like it's so funny that way. Can I try and sell you guys
I've moved him down to 68 is where I have him right now. I also moved Jameson Williams down to 62.
Can I sell you guys on Kyle Pitts? I feel
is that lower than me.
No,
it is.
It's not.
Okay.
Oh, it's
you're
not.
Like 74. It's lower than Davis at least. So Davis reclaims his throne as highest on Jameson Williams.
All right, I ranked 25-year-old Kyle Pitts at 67. Pat ranked him at 80. Jacob, the heretic, ranked him at 95.
Well,
I'm
universally lower on the tight ends than you guys, I think. I think I'm lower on almost every tight end on the whole sheet.
So that...
Yeah, we saw your rank on Bowers.
That would explain the difference there. But I feel like Kyle Pitts did it. Like Kyle Pitts he showed us the unicorn.
He didn't do it.
He had a really nice run of games when Drake London was hurt on an offense that otherwise featured like no shoulder Darnell Mooney and David Sills and like a bunch of total bums. And I think we already knew that Kyle Pitts could like put up empty calorie receiving stats if a team was forced to hollow out their blocking in order to like get him out there as the most crumulent wide receiver, because that's what he did his rookie year. I just think he's still too limited. He doesn't have the agility. He's like a straight line guy who can't block. And I just don't think that I think you'll see it in spurts with him when a team is forced to use him as a primary option. But when London is healthy, he still wasn't as productive. And so I don't know. I'm not really buying into the late season stuff much with Kyle Pitts.
Well, it's funny because he had one 100+ yard game last year. He had one. Now,
it's just that it all happened. It happened in the one game. Yeah. It did all happen in the one game. I guess
166-3 with 11 catches.
So I'm kind of interpreting it two ways. I think one, their total, like they don't even have a first round pick. Like they're going into the season with Kyle Pitts as the wide receiver too. So I think you feel really, really good about his routes, like not being trimmed at all. And because that was kind of always the thing with him. Was the Kerrane, a lot of your research at Legendary Upside about the play action pass rate. Okay, well, if you can't run block and like that,
I'm
was
not
all
sure
gone.
He gets that stuff still, man.
But he's still out there, right? I mean, he's running like 80, 85% of the routes. He had a couple 100% snap games.
He might not be out there. I mean, he like if you want to be honest, like he might not be out there in like run sets, right? Like that's part of the problem with Kyle Pitts is that he's a big slot receiver in a bad way. For the purposes of like, are you going to be involved on play action stuff where tight ends do see a lot of their targets and, a lot of tight end red zone opportunity comes off play action. And frankly, a lot of production from tight ends generally comes off play action. So you'd like your guys to be able to run block good enough to play on play action. Kyle Pitts will get plenty of routes because he's going to get routes where like almost no other tight ends would, because he is just kind of a receiver. But if your primary goal is actually to like put a set on the field that runs the ball, I'm not sure you include Kyle Pitts in that set. And, generally maybe you're running and then you're play actioning the next play or something. You know what I mean? Like you don't just throw Kyle Pitts out there because it'll be real tricky when you play action. Like you need to be able to run block. His run blocking grade last year was 43, which is really bad. Second lowest of his career. He was at 31 in 2023, which is like horrendous stuff. 46 in 2024. He's actually better the first 2 years of his career. He's turning his 3 worst run blocking grades of his career over the last 3 years. They're all 46 or lower. So
probably honestly as he plays more snaps.
Well, his first year he lined up at X, so he was like blocking cornerbacks.
Right,
he was like
right.
not in line very often in his first year.
So I don't know. I think he can. It was fun to see him do, the stuff we felt like he should be doing the whole time. But I think he's Kyle Pitts. Like he's like Jared Cook who plays more.
Hey, Jared Cook who plays more.
I mean,
Jared Cook who plays more is worth something.
Yeah,
I don't have him 95 like Jacob.
Stylistically, he's more like Jared Cook. But like in terms of, I think his career path, it's like Evan Ingram-y, where it's like he's not the total bust that he looked like he was going to be. He's also not the superstar that he looked like he's going to be. He's just going to kind of like rest in the middle. And then
all right, we found my first immediate this is wrong and I need to adjust down in Ricky Pearsall. I do not want to stand on business on this Ricky Pearsall ranking in any way, shape, or form.
Well, you love a white boy with some motion.
I do love a white boy with a little bit of motion. Interesting that none of us are bending the knee on Travis Hunter. All of us still had Travis Hunter well inside of our top 100. Pat is a lot higher on Devontae Adams.
We have a 7-pick differential on Hunter, who's like probably one of the most polarizing players in all of Dynasty.
Well, I mean,
not
I
on this podcast.
Yeah, not amongst these three guys.
In the same spot, 90, 93, 97.
I mean, I think it's about as high as you can. I think it's about as high as you can reasonably justify a guy who might play more cornerback snaps and wide receiver snaps this upcoming season.
I mean, my attitude on Hunter in all formats this year is like, I'm just trying to get to the line of where I'm comfortable taking a complete 0 on the chance that he is as talented as I think he is, and then I find that spot, and then I just put the Travis Hunter cell in the sheet.
For me, like the best ball thing is that I just don't think he's going to be a complete 0. Like he's going to have weeks where they involve him. Like it could be game plan specific or someone's pulled a hammy or something. Like he will be on the field. They'll probably have I think baseline, I think they probably have a sub package of plays for him, even though he's going to be playing cornerback more. I think he's a very nuanced player, and I think people kind of want a clear answer on him. And the quotes of like, oh, he's going to play more corner, I think are true, that he will play more corner than last year, but he was primarily a receiver last year, and he played both ways. So I think he could primarily be a cornerback and play both ways this year, and that will lead to some productive weeks in best ball, I think, still. So I don't even think you're getting total zero risk with him as long as he slots in your lineup. Yeah, you'll get kind of Hardman's for sure. Yeah, which isn't great, but I think you're going to have that. And then from a dynasty perspective, I think you could bink something. I mean, you want to talk about a guy who would be worth a lot more in a year or two. I mean, he gives you that upside for sure.
I'm more, the best ball price to me is legitimately is like it's going to be a big stand, just because I think he's priced completely fine if he is just Mecole Hardman in best ball going in like the 150s. And I think you're just getting all the upside basically for free. It's not really the case in Dynasty, because in Dynasty he could actually just be a zero. Like if he's just Mecole Hardman, you're never starting him.
You're just never starting him. Yeah.
So it's tough, but I mean, the nice thing with Dynasty is it's a longer horizon. So, I mean, I'm kind of at the point too where, like, you know, if it's like, if he's worth like a second, then it's like, okay, I'll just hold him on my roster forever. And like, if the worst thing that happens is like at the opportunity cost of a second now, he's like nothing. It's like, that sucks, but like, it is what it is, you know, but who knows? Like one day, whether it's this year, next year, 2029, like the chips fall where he's just playing wide receiver one year. And like, who knows? Like then all of a sudden, you know, you get this big, I mean, I still think it's like people are, too rigid about the corner. Like, I don't know.
They're very rigid.
Parker Washington tears his ACL in week 4. Travis Hunter plays 75% of the routes the next week and has 8 catches for 100 and a touchdown. It's like, well, we've decided that he's going to play wide receiver for the rest of the season. And then what if he's just awesome? And like now he's worth 2 firsts again. Like,
also, like, you know, this was the 2nd overall pick in the draft, and you know, he didn't really get a chance to fully do what I think he was going to do as a receiver last year.
He didn't get to do anything. We saw the one game, and that was it.
We saw the one game. Yeah. So like, if you look at his metrics from his rookie year, they're not impressive, but I don't know. I think he did flash when he was on the field, and they had him kind of limited in terms of what his responsibilities were. He was just that kind of slot F role this past year. I think they could expand the types of routes he's running and from where.
And remember, by the way,
that was all the coach speak right before the practice injury.
Hayden and Josh were all over this, talking about, remember all the pre-snap motion penalties the Jaguars were getting? They led the NFL in pre-snap motion penalties. Like, this is a pretty complex offense that none of these guys have played in before. They're all kind of learning it on the fly as they're playing. And Hunter didn't get to play in the offense that made Parker Washington look like, you know, so great.
Yeah.
It's really similar to the Bears, where you had these new coaches who are brilliant, but they're introducing this like very complex offense to a pretty young, immature team. And like in the early season, you were seeing some flashes, but you were also seeing a lot of mistakes, and it was a bit of a mess sometimes. And then we saw both teams really figure it out over the second half of the year, and he just unfortunately didn't get to be part of what the rest of the team was. But I mean, even outside of the fantasy scope, I'm just confused by the degree to which, like, I see so many people are just like, well, that was a complete bust. Like, you know, the Travis Hunter pick, like, what a disaster for that franchise. It's like I don't know, maybe, but like he played like 6 games. It's like I don't know, like what if this year he is just like a useful receiver and he's one of the best corners in the NFL? Like, we've just decided that's off the table. Like I don't know. I'm just not convinced at all by 6 games of his NFL career that like it was some disastrous decision. Like, he might still be really good.
My original Travis Hunter take pre-draft, you know, you can go. I put this in the podcast airwaves. I don't know if I ever wrote about it, but my take was that he's going to get whatever GM takes him fired, because he's so polarizing and there's no, whatever you do with Travis Hunter, hindsight bias was wrong. Like, unless he's just an unbelievable superstar. But even then, if he gets hurt, it's always going to be your fault for playing him too much. And if he doesn't get hurt, then you should have played him more. So this does none of the discourse around Hunter doesn't surprise me at all. Like people are not equipped to be chill about this type of player.
Yeah.
But I also think the funny thing is that Parker Washington has come in and, he has this really great third year and he could have broken out. It could be real, but I also fundamentally am skeptical of players like Parker Washington, 6th round pick, does nothing his first 2 seasons, has a good third year. There's sort of to me, a lot of overconfidence about what his role in the offense is going to be compared to what Travis Hunter's role could be if Hunter takes another step forward in a healthy second season. It could be week 4 and Washington goes down with injury. It could be week 14 and Washington's totally healthy and Travis Hunter is cooking because he's really, really good at receiver.
The law firm of Wilson, Washington, and Pierce is a group of receivers that historically it wouldn't be that surprising if, despite what we just saw recently, you get to week 5 and it's wow, they're playing a lot worse than they did last year.
Yeah.
Well, they're playing a lot more like they always did the rest of their life than they did for 8 weeks last season.
Right.
Yeah. Kerrane, you're just very high on Terry McLaurin. I did not see that. I didn't see that coming.
I guess I didn't see it coming either. I mean, let's see. My starting point for this rank was our best ball rank. And so he's 30 years old.
Yep.
He's going in. He was just re-signed to a contract, so he's there for. You're not concerned about him not being there. He's tied to a really good quarterback. We don't have him ranked super high relative to ADP. We're 7 picks behind ADP, but that still puts him in the 5th round. So a 30-year-old wide receiver is a 5th round best ball value per my rank there. And he's tied to Jayden Daniels long term. That's how this rank came about. Tell me why I'm wrong.
You said the words long term about a old wide receiver who just
he's just
most
old.
of the year with a soft
Well,
tissue.
long term is in he won't be looking for a new home after the season.
Yeah, I mean Terry McLaurin is a totally fine points purchase. I just think he's a limited use player in Dynasty because I think he's a wide receiver 2. And he's a wide receiver 2, has basically no chance of value increase. So I'm just not that interested.
I guess
if you want near-term points at an efficient price, I think he's a totally fine player to fill out a flex position on a young ascending roster that needs a point injection at a pretty gettable price. I think he makes a ton of sense.
I've noticed this.
It also looks like they could eat
sidekick
18 million and cut him if they wanted to after the season. So I'm going to lower him a bit.
I have Jayden Higgins as a top 100 player. You guys basically are tossing him to the Wolves. I mean, Christian Kirk off the team, right?
Yeah.
The fact that that's bullish is bearish.
Well, it's more about how the Texans choose to go about their business. They're the most frustrating team in terms of what they do with their young players.
Did you enjoy that they specifically targeted offensive linemen who are really good run blockers and terrible pass blockers? And then they traded for David Montgomery for no reason at all, really. And then they extended him for even less of a reason at all. They're going to have a minus 13 PROE.
I just wonder if we're kind of at a spot where beggars can't be choosers with second year wide receivers, given just the how many high profile wide receiver busts there have been, how many young wide receivers we're super excited about. I could probably stand.
Shouldn't we be more choosy if all these receivers are busting?
Well, I guess what I'm saying is the evidence that would exist based off the per target stuff was I thought Jayden Higgins was I think there is more there than the Texans did. And if I'm divorcing him, he only played over 70% of the snaps 3 times and was very good in 2 of those games. And I guess I'm saying I'm predicting the playing time leap. And if it's still Xavier Hutchinson, well, I guess it's Lucy in the football for me.
I'm fine with the playing time leap. I just think he was an okay prospect who had an okay rookie year. And he's on a team that wants to run the crap out of the ball, and when they do pass, they have a target dominant alpha receiver that I have seen no reason to suspect Jayden Higgins will meaningfully challenge. So like, what's the upside of a full route share as the very distant number 2 on the Texans offense? Is he like maybe a wide receiver 3, like probably a wide receiver 4?
Yeah, I think that is well put. Like, there's not a lot of upside here unless you're talking about like a Nico Collins injury. I think, if Nico went down, maybe he could be like a low end wide receiver 2 type, maybe. But I think most of the time, like I don't know. To me, like Higgins is a fine type of pick in the like 2025 Michael Wilson archetype. You're taking a guy who's, hey, he's going to run all the routes. He's an outside wide receiver. He had solid enough draft capital. He wasn't a very good prospect. He wasn't a terrible prospect, I guess, because he had enough draft capital, but he wasn't like great. And, he wasn't that good as a rookie. He wasn't terrible or anything. 1.46 yards per route run. Didn't play all the time. And then you do have Tank Dell returning, which might be nothing, but it might be something. Like that could be another guy who earns targets in addition to Nico Collins here. And you already have I'm not even sure Higgins is the number 2 if Dell doesn't play a single game, because it might be like Dalton Schultz. I don't know that Higgins is going to earn a ton of targets here. And then you do have Jalen Noel, another young guy who had a worse rookie season than Jayden Higgins, but that kind of stuff can also flip in year 2 where you have, Noel's bigger issue was that he didn't play enough. He only had 209 routes last year, but he had 1.40 yards per route run. Higgins had 427 routes and again 1.46. But let's say Tank Dell is dust and Jalen Noel's playing a lot. The Kirk thing directly helps him if Dell isn't anything. So I just didn't see a ton here, and I don't think to see another step being imminent. And it's not like a layup type of situation because you do have Nico Collins locked in as the clear number 1. An offense I'm not that excited about, passing game especially. So
Jacob didn't even fucking rank Mark Andrews.
Oh, that's a mistake. He should be ranked. I'll rank him.
That's a good
I thought, honestly, I thought it was 50-50. If you were just like, this guy.
I mean, he won't be ranked highly.
How am I the high man on Sharbs? This is stunning to me, being the high man on Sharbs.
Where am I going to put Mark Andrews?
I guess I'm viewing the Sharbs thing as, unless they do trade a pick for Achane, I'm like, they probably just placeholder it, and then he's the starting running back for the Seahawks because he's more in their price range, like week 8, and then next year. I mean, I could be wrong.
It's going to be awesome when you have a running back who's not playing in week 7 that you spent the 109th pick on in a startup.
Yeah.
I put Mark Andrews at 177. I actually know what happened. I had a copy paste error when I added someone last week, and then I thought that I had accidentally deleted Dallas Goedert, but I didn't because I had 2 Dallas Goederts. So one of those Dallas Goederts should have been Mark Andrews.
You know what? I thought you were going to go way more disrespectful and saying that you were trying to get rid of Tyler Higbee from the rankings, and you accidentally got rid of Mark Andrews. But Goedert's actually not so bad.
Yeah.
So Terrence Ferguson, can I interest you guys in a 18.5 yard ADOT tight end playing with the 2025 MVP, Pat, the 2025 MVP, a team that specializes.
Dan Orlovsky's close personal friend.
As far as I know, he doesn't play with Justin Herbert Davis.
Terrence Ferguson is like my biggest buy across formats. I am envisioning big. I'm envisioning big things for my guy.
I'm envisioning not as big.
I should
of
raise
things,
him up.
because I think his route rate is still going to be pretty capped. Because they just re-signed Higbee and Parkinson's still there.
I mean, they paid Tyler Higbee
I'm more with you.
fucking James.
I'm more with you than I am with Pat. If you wanted to,
I'm more with you guys than I am with Pat. I think I'm gonna raise him.
Okay, purely on a standpoint of every time I watched him make a play, which was like 8 times because he was very lightly used. I was like, man, that boy nice. So like that's interesting. He's in my top 150. Wait, Pat, this one I assume was intentional. You don't have JJ McCarthy ranked?
No, where are you ranking?
That's probably.
I wanted to do Zach Wilson, but I'd already done him. I've already mentioned his name so many times.
That's probably a name match, I bet.
What's the point? No, I don't have JJ McCarthy ranked.
Oh yeah, I mean, honestly,
where you guys are ranking
totally
back to quarterbacks? Where do you guys have Jimmy Garoppolo? You got him ranked real high?
I mean, my attitude on quarterbacks, like we talked about this with Ward. I mean, I have Malik Willis over 60 spots higher than you. I just know that like the quarterback value is so volatile, and there's just such a morass of flex players that like, I don't know, just once you get into like the round 2 pick range, it's like, sure, I'll take a shot on rostering JJ McCarthy and see if he ever washes ashore somewhere. Like,
I went to 200 and I was gonna go a little further, and then I realized it was just gonna be ranking like JJ McCarthy and Shadeur Sanders and Aaron Rodgers and all these quarterbacks. So I think and Geno Smith and stuff. I'm like, yeah, like if you need a quarterback, fine, but like they're not really worth anything.
I go to 225 and I do have a lovely run. This is 199 to 203, and it just goes Jalen Milroe, Shadeur Sanders, Deshaun Watson, Anthony Richardson, Kirk Cousins.
That's it. Yeah, I was like, I could do that, or I could just be like, after this, I'd probably just take a bunch of quarterbacks and like tight ends or whatever, or just go team need. But yeah, I mean, I don't think McCarthy really has much value. I think in a way he's sort of screwed by his rookie deal. Well, his play is the primary issue for sure. But I also think like put yourself in the world where Kyler Murray plays like pretty well. He doesn't blow the doors off, but he plays pretty well to the point that he can demand a huge contract, but then the Vikings aren't willing to pay like this huge top of market free agent quarterback contract. And so he goes and signs with the Steelers or whoever is willing to pay him. So then they're looking for another quarterback. There's just no way that they head into 2027 in that kind of scenario. And they're like, you know what? Let's give JJ McCarthy another shot.
No.
Like there's just a 0% chance.
JJ McCarthy is never getting another shot on purpose.
Yeah.
But like he has enough of a weird cult following that if, I don't know. I mean, what if Kyler got hurt and then JJ plays and he looks kind of okay, and then the Vikings are like, maybe you're our guy again, or like it would surprise me if he never started NFL games again. And if he does, he's probably going to look terrible.
So far, my not ranking seems great.
Yeah.
When do you convince me to rank him?
Like, why do you have Gardner Minshew ranked, Pat?
I don't.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
That made as much sense to me as ranking JJ McCarthy.
Here's a guy that I'm higher on, but here's a guy. Like, and we're doing this with Chuba Hubbard. Like, he's like a 7th round pick in best ball right now. If Chuba Hubbard is healthy, aren't they going to let him start the year? They spent a really high pick on this guy.
You said Chuba, but you meant Jonathan Brooks.
Yes, I'm saying, isn't Jonathan Brooks going to be the starting running back for the Panthers?
No.
I don't think so.
Become the starting running back.
It could become the starting running back.
Plays Chuba, but I don't think I think there's like a 0% chance he's just taking the first carry of the year.
Yeah, I don't know.
Chuba is very beatable. Like if Brooks shows up and he looks healthy and he looks good.
Like Kerrane, you really like Jonathan Brooks.
I liked him coming out. I did. So he suffers another ACL injury in his rookie season.
The key word
same
is
knee.
Another. We've basically not seen him play since 2 ACLs.
Keyword's another. Yeah, 2 I liked him before he tore his ACL twice.
And
then he doesn't play at all last year, right? That's the other pretty concerning point here where we saw Christian Watson come back from a late season ACL tear. Like it wouldn't have been crazy for him to come back. Not only did he not come back, it seemed like they weren't even like really leaving the light on to the point that they draft Trevor Etienne. Which one do they draft? They drafted.
Wait, but is the
Trevor.
question, is he also? But is it Trevor Achane? It's probably is.
Well, to Achane confused. Now I don't know what to call him anymore. So he's Travis Achane, and then Trevor Etienne, I think is the way it goes, right?
But how would it be? But wouldn't he have the same last name as his brother?
No, I don't think so. I think it's just the Trevor or the Travis is actually Achane. No, I don't know.
Okay.
My take on this is I feel like a deadline passed. You know, the deadline was another guy came into the league with a name spelled Achane. Could you have told us then? You're also Achane.
Agreed. I mean, again, he did tell us in 2021 before he was drafted.
Did he?
It was like a whole clip at the Clemson Pro Day. He was like, just so you guys know, my last name is pronounced Achane. Everyone's been wrong at Clemson for the last 4 years. I would appreciate it if people would be right now. And I was like, cool, it's Etienne.
All right, I take it all back. If he said that in 2021,
so
we're just a bunch of assholes.
We haven't. We just ignored it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, all right. So anyway, so they have Trevor Achane, and they spent a 3rd round pick on him. He's not any good or anything, but like that, I think told us, was a signal of what was going to happen, which we don't get any Jonathan Brooks last year. I don't see why they would head into this year really expecting anything from Jonathan Brooks. Like anything they get from Jonathan Brooks at this point is a bonus. It wouldn't surprise me if they spend another late day 2, day 3 pick on a running back, even in, a fairly thin class, and kind of look to build depth that way. Also, like if they were to sign Brian Robinson tomorrow, would you guys be stunned?
No.
Yes, because they just signed AJ Dillon today.
All right, well,
Spider-Man pointing meme.
yeah.
There's not room enough for the both of us.
I want to believe in Brooks.
Here.
Brooks is a guy, just real quick, like if we start to hear a drumbeat of like, hey, he looks good in OTAs, like I'll move on that information. Like I'm not like set. I don't have a strong opinion that Brooks has done. I just would like to see some positive signs from this guy where we haven't seen anything in a while.
Agreed.
I think that's valid. Very funny that we all have K. Otten ranked just down here of all
Man,
the
tough. Speaking of the 2024 running back class, I just saw Trey Benson fully unranked on Pack.
Oh yeah, I mean Trey Benson, bro, it's done.
I mean, in fairness, the only reason he's ranked on mine is because I ranked more players. I have him at 209, so like if I stopped at 200, he would also be unranked.
I think I have 200. I was gonna say I have like 240 or so, and Trey Benson is not there.
He is. I just saw it. Yes, he is. He's like 170 something.
196. All right, 196. Okay. All right. Well, I'm removing him. Deleted. Blanked. He's done. He's gone.
This is 43 pick Doc. Get out of here.
Good on Trey.
Did anyone rank Jacoby Brissett?
I did. I added him. I added him this morning, but it was too late because someone commented. One of my subscribers was like, "I noticed you don't have Jacoby Brissett ranked. Is that a mistake?" And I was like, shoot, yeah, it actually is." So I just put him in. He is 184 for me.
This is what the 200s are for my ranks. If you're using my ranks, this is what the 200s are.
It's like whoever you want. Go
I'm really glad, by the way, that I'm way higher on JCM than you guys, because I had a very angry subscriber write 2 paragraphs to me about why I'm too low on JCM, and I was like, I was like apoplectic because I'm like, I was like, I don't really know how to handle like being the low guy on JCM. Like that doesn't feel accurate to who I am. So it's good to know that I'm like a solid 40 picks ahead of both of you guys down at 130.
I mean, what's the point of JCM at this stage?
I mean, he's like one Tennessee Titans decision away from being the starting running back for the Commanders this year.
I love how like every year these, the NFL meta is like, I understand that like, you don't want to take running backs early, but this dude's different.
This dude's different. He's a weapon.
He's a weapon. He's an offensive weapon.
Actually hoping that this dude's different is so potent with Jeremiah Love that the Commanders convince themselves to trade up for him. That would be It would just be like such a hilarious rejection of everything we know about proper team building. If they're like, I know, but like this guy's different. We gotta leapfrog the Titans, get up to 3.
Well, here's the thing. This is why I'm a little higher on JCM. If Love doesn't make it to 7, there's obviously no other running back they're taking at 7. They don't have a second, and they don't have a 4th. So their only other chance to take a running back who might be legitimate competition would be at pick 71. And like, I don't know, whoever they would, like if it's Emmett Johnson or Mike, like those guys stink too. So, I mean, I would wager it's well over 50% that Love is not there at 7. I think the Titans are going to.
I think it's over 50%. You're right.
I think the Titans are taking him at 4, and I think if he gets to the Giants, they might take him at 5. I'm less sold on that, but it seems like it's close to 50-50. I think I'm at like 60% that the Titans just take him at pick 4.
I think that, yeah, I would.
Which is bad, in my opinion. But I don't know. The Titans do bad things frequently. They're the Titans.
And there's definitely upside with JCM to some extent. I think the thing my issue with JCM is like, especially from a dynasty managed league perspective, is that like last year was really about as open an opportunity as he had. And he didn't not play at all, but he didn't seize it. Eckler gets hurt. There's all this hype around him, but it's a lot of Chris Rodriguez. There's plenty of Jeremy McNichols. And so you have Jeremy McNichols back. You have Rashad White back. Got Jerome Ford there now. Like, even when they had Brian Robinson as kind of the lead back, they were also doing like a lot of committee stuff. It would not surprise me at all, even if Ja'Cory Cross-Camara is kind of the lead back, if this is like a true committee, like 3-4-way split. Let's say 3. But like, are you starting him a lot of weeks? Do you feel like there's any kind of weekly upside? You're just hoping he rips off a 40-yard touchdown. He's projecting for like, he's like the starter and also is like,
he's like Isaiah
Pacheco.
9
points of projection.
Yeah, he's like Isaiah
mean?
Pacheco, but
Yeah,
on the
very
Commanders.
possible.
You're just like, oh my
It's
God.
very possible that he's the starter and he's like averaging a 41% snap share, and Jerome Ford has every third series, and Rashad White plays every passing situation, and
And you're like, this is a winning ticket I have. this worked out.
Redeem my ticket, please.
Yeah, I can't redeem this for
my
fucking anything.
Yeah, that's possible. That's probable.
Is there anyone else you guys wanted to do?
I don't know. Maybe.
Anyone jump out to you?
No, I mean, I think that was mostly like the big relative disagreements.
Are there any tight ends that you like, Jacob? Or are you just out on the position?
I'm mostly out on the position. Are there any that I like? Let's see. I mean, I'm the highest on Loveland. Look at that. There you go.
You're the highest on
highest on Kraft.
You're the highest on Kraft.
I'm the highest on Kraft. So
You didn't rank Sadiq, which is pretty. No, you didn't do the rookies.
You are.
No, I have rookie. Well,
no,
I have rookie 106. Where do you guys have Sadiq? Because I have rookie 106.
I had Sadiq pretty high. I have Sadiq at 66.
So I would have Sadiq essentially at 69 if we're doing it that way. But
yeah. I'm happy to not take Sadiq at 69.
Or no, he wouldn't be my 106. He'd be my 107. So I'd have him at 74. I have Concepcion at 69, essentially.
Do we want to?
Not.
Do you guys have any updated rookie thoughts?
That would be my take. I think you guys are too low on Jeremiah Love. Because
honestly, I don't really have very many. My rookie thoughts are nothing really changed for me at the combine, other than being like, okay, well, Sadiq is just locked in at his slot. Like I just like he's just going to be a first round pick, tight ends.
Stowers moved up a lot more for me than Sadiq.
I was already really high on Stowers, so that gap. Maybe I just felt more comfortable in where I had Stowers ranked because I already had Stowers as a first round pick. So.
Are you able to source the rookies?
I'm definitely more into Stowers.
I don't think I can.
Just because I think that the issue with Stowers to me is, and will continue to be, route concerns. And like,
Kerrane, you have him higher than I do.
Going in the first round does not absolve you of route concerns. Like,
No,
look at the guy
it doesn't.
right above him there, Dalton Kincaid, who has route concerns and went in the first round. But it helps. It at least almost guarantees you'll have a chance to play closer to full routes, and then we'll see if it works or not. So yeah, I think Stowers getting himself into the potential top 40 pick range is pretty big. I did a rookie mock draft today on the Fantasy Points channel with Theo Greminger and Ryan Heath, and I think he went at the 110 of our draft. I think Theo took him. So yeah, he's definitely.
I think that's what he is for me now. Let me see. I've got Stowers. No, I have Stowers at the 107 now.
Oh my God, Jesus, that is a bleak class.
Because look, so Concepcion just had some knee surgery that's totally cool. Don't worry about it. Jadarian Price doesn't catch passes.
Enough with Jadarian Price. I don't even want to acknowledge Jadarian Price. I'm tired of him.
Denzel Boston might not be a first-round pick. And
no.
Last I checked, his entire bull case was he will be a first-round pick. So that seems bad.
Yeah.
So, like, who is supposed to be the 107, if not Stowers? And again, this is tight end premium that I have him ranked this way. But, like,
it's still probably Concepcion.
I'm still pretty comfortable with Concepcion, pending worse news on the knee stuff. I'm still pretty.
Yeah, it's just a knee. It's not a big deal.
I'm growing more comfortable with Omar Cooper Jr.
I'm not.
Oh God, that just feels like
not.
such a fucking waste of a 107.
Come on, man. But the 107.
Okay, dude. Like,
woof.
look, I have to rank someone 7th. Okay, like it's like all of these players are like horrific picks at the 107, but like. I don't know, like,
Stowers at least gives you some like upside.
Yeah, man,
in the
I'm so excited
setting.
to take a 230-pound tight end who's going to run half the routes at the 107. Like that sounds.
Well, what
great.
if he runs 2/3 of the routes?
Whoa,
you ever think about that?
There we go.
Also, you just took a guy's running half the routes, a pick ahead of this guy.
Yeah, he sucks
it's like
too.
the same
Everybody
guy.
Sucks. All these guys suck. I don't know. I've just swapped Cooper and Boston in my brain. Of like, because Cooper went at like pick 16 of the latest Daniel Jeremiah mock draft, and Boston didn't even make the first round. So I've just kind of swapped Cooper into the guy where I'm like, I don't know about this one, but I guess he's going round 1, and then Boston's just into the I don't know about this one. But I think Cooper's a little more interesting because he's got like some of the forced missed tackle stuff, and some of the film stuff seems more. I don't know.
Cooper's not very interesting to me, and I think it made less interesting by the fact that Surratt looks like he's probably like a day 3 guy now, or at least has risks of being day 3 guy. That's probably overstating. He's round 3, I think, at this point, but it wouldn't surprise me if he was a round 4 pick at all.
I'm getting big Seth Williams vibes off.
There's some Seth Williams.
Oh God,
there's some Alec Imanor.
Yeah,
big Alec Imanor with him. But like, he didn't separate himself from Surratt there.
No, he did. It was a pretty big gap. Surratt was a lot more productive.
He had me in the first half. I was like all ready to get mad. Yeah, so like if Surratt's not good, then Cooper's like also not good, right? Like that we know there's some correlation here. It doesn't.
No, the correlation is very real.
It's very real. So
yeah.
I don't know. I'm really, really struggling to buy. I have him at 112.
The Washington Huskies wide receivers.
Yeah.
24.
Yeah. The negative correlation. Do you remember the Rick Rogers, Justin Hunter, and Cordero Patterson were all together at Tennessee? Not good correlation.
I definitely remember that team.
That was a bad correlation.
That team stunk. They were like 5 and 7. I think their quarterback was Tyler.
I wonder why.
It was what was his name? Quentin Dormandy?
Justin Hunter was a 2nd-round pick. Rick Rogers, I think, went undrafted because of stuff.
Wow, what a pull!
Would have been drafted high.
The quarterback was Quentin Dormandy. There we go.
Patterson was a 1st-round pick, right? He was like 32nd
or
or
I think he was like
31st. Oh, even higher, yeah. Well, he went to the Vikings, so he wouldn't be 32nd. Bad job by me.
That's exactly what my thought process was. 29th. So that was the year that they went to the conference championship with Favre, I guess, probably.
Yeah. Anyway, it gets bleak after, but Coleman, another loser, I think. Right? He seems to be
Kevin.
He looks like he legitimately might be a day 3 pick now.
Kevin Coleman?
No,
Jonah.
Jonah Coleman, who I was trying to convince Jacob to move up.
That's a pretty bearish signal that I heard Coleman and he didn't even fucking register for me. That's I would say that's
running
bearish.
back is a wasteland because like the Price was a combine loser, Washington was a combine winner, but I don't care about him. I think he's terrible.
How much Washington? If you're doing the Cooper thing, are you doing the Washington thing?
Yeah, I ranked Washington really high, surprising no one.
Jesus.
No, like I think Washington is like outright awful. I really do. I can't get there. I can't wrap my head around it. Like I still prefer Jonah Coleman straight up, and I mean,
I have Coleman way
pending,
higher. I still have Coleman way higher.
Landing spot pending. If Jonah Coleman went in round 4 and Jadarian Price went in round 2 and Mike Washington went in round 2, if the landing spots were roughly equal, I think I would still prefer Jonah Coleman. I don't even really think Jonah Coleman's like all that in a bag of chips, but the Mike Washington thing just seems like he's filling the void of a class that no one's excited about. But like there's nothing there outside of the speed score. The receiving profile is bad. The micro stats are bad.
Big
Really
man,
old.
run
he never
fast.
Did anything before this year. He was like completely frame mogged by Seth McGowan at New Mexico State. Like it's a non-existent profile outside of the speed score.
He's Kalen Balazs.
Yeah.
That's why Davis likes him.
I was gonna say, once you made the sale, stop selling.
Niall Davis.
Niall Davis. Run back Niall Davis again. I just like it's like, hey man,
Did someone say Christine Michael? Because
Christian Michael got me. He should have been good.
It's just like I have a type and I'm fine to be on board with these types for the remainder of my natural born life.
Christian Michael had like on field quicks. Like he wasn't just the testing. There were certain cuts that he did, unfortunately only in college, that were very impressive.
That's another part of the Mike Washington discourse that is bothersome to me. Is I saw a bunch of people being like, as a pro for Mike Washington, I saw people like, do not tell me from watching his tape you expected him to run that fast. This moves the needle. And I'm like, if you're telling me that he's never ran that fast on a football
it's
field,
always bearish.
that makes me care way less. Like,
like
you're telling me this guy's really fast, but he didn't show it. Like,
okay. I do not care. I do not care. You give me a 99th percentile speed score. That's all. It's all I need, brother. It's all I need.
So Davis and I have the exact same rank on Price. Where would you be, Jacob, if you? Where's he for you
on
now?
Price?
Yeah.
I can tell you.
Oh man, lower than you guys.
So Jacob would have his actually right in that range. 108, 109, 110, 111, 112 is right in that range.
We have 98.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm my current rookie rankings like of my players, I don't have them released anywhere, but I think I would put Price at like the 112, 201, 202 range. So yeah, I mean, I think
there's
I'm
just no way
that
the
pick than you guys.
I understand what you're saying.
Picks, not the players.
But how is the 107 worth the 74th overall pick? Like, it just is not. It might have been last year or something.
It's almost like it's like you're just kind of have to apply
I have
some
these guys
historical
way marked down from where I had them last year. I mean, I have like my early
is it just
evaluation.
Like Tyson equity or something that you get him on a fall?
No,
like,
it's just.
I mean, Kerrane, you and I
I have them ranked not that highly.
Sadiq relatively close to that, and I guess I have Concepcion closer to that. You have Concepcion.
Yeah, so Sadiq would be my current 107, and like I don't know, I don't feel like I have him ranked that highly. I have him next to like Sam Laporta, Josh Jacobs, Travis Etienne. That seems fine to me. I feel okay with that.
I'm gonna take all those players over Sadiq.
I mean, this is endemic to all my rankings. Like we had the Burden conversation, we had the Malik Willis. I'm just not very interested in like guys who have a really tight band in Dynasty that don't score elite fantasy points. So like, I would always just rather take shots. So like, I'm very interested in like if you're telling me this player has a way lower floor, but like they have a theoretical pathway to being worth multiple firsts, like I'm taking that over Travis Etienne in Dynasty. Like no questions asked. Because you can backfill production in Dynasty really cheaply. Like you can get.
Yeah, no, I don't
get
disagree with
wide
that general
receiver
idea.
threes and running back twos. Like
I was gonna say you can always trade a third for a 29-year-old running back and like the whatever wide receivers on their last legs, Keenan Allen, like Michael. Could you send a third for Michael Pittman Jr. right now? Probably.
Yeah, like you probably could.
Definitely could, right?
Like
yeah.
I mean, I had it in my column yesterday where I was like, you know, who scored the exact same amount of points per game as Tedero McMillan? Like Stephon Diggs last year.
Yeah,
they had the exact same points per game. You can get production really efficiently. So it's mostly just philosophical, but it's also, I mean, I don't know. Maybe you guys have a higher opinion of the Dynasty community than I do, but like, I think that if the Seahawks draft a running back in round 2 and he looks like he's going to be their clear starter, that people are going to take him at like the 105 or the 106, and so then that 107 gains value in like a pretty major
That's fair.
way. So
that is fair.
It's like,
yeah,
I'm just leaving. So like where I would rank, if you're telling me like I'm getting Kenyon Sadiq, who's my current 7th ranked player, and I'm just stuck with him, you know, hell or high water, like I value that a lot less. But if you're telling me, well, you can have the 107, which is an asset that I can trade. I mean, this is part of it too. It's like
you can trade it more easily.
If I have Travis Etienne and I'm trying to move Travis Etienne, I have to find someone who specifically wants Travis Etienne. But like the 107 is universally liquid. So until I make that pick, it's currency, and so that adds value to it. So as soon as that pick becomes a player, it'll drop in my rankings. But I value the liquidity of the currency quite a bit.
That's a very good case, and you're right that like Jadarian Price or Mike Washington might be the 106. So, and like, honestly, like, fine. You know, like if Mike Washington goes 30, like, what is that? Okay. Like, there's no one I really like that much past 5. It's kind of a 5-player class.
Yeah, why
not?
not?
It's really more of a 4-player class for me. I'm just hoping someone else takes Fernando Mendoza.
I think Mendoza at least, like, you know, you're getting
Mendoza.
a couple of years.
I mean, I'll take him at the
Getting a
105. It's fine. I don't know.
Yeah.
If you guys love like a 9% negative PROE offense for a rookie quarterback whose wide receiver 1 is Jalen Naylor and isn't very good, but
wide receiver 1 is Jalen Naylor. Yeah.
Rip.
I'm not a Mendoza guy, but I understand.
He's kind of Darnold-y, but
it's kind of Darnold-y.
Hey, you're getting the guy who made Darnold
right.
work.
If you want Sam Darnold, if you want a guy who's Darnold-y, and then you want a guy who's probably going to take a couple of years to get to be as good as Sam Darnold, and then you also have to pay twice as much for him because he's a rookie, then Fernando Mendoza's your guy.
Well, listen, I wouldn't take him until the 5th pick. You know, give me all the other guys. I think I had Mendoza ahead of Tyson in our first rookie ranks, but you convinced me to change that. So,
do
you want to talk love?
Model, by the way,
No,
I was because I was higher on Tyson than you guys before, and then we had JJ's model released on Sunday night, and we had him on the show. Our episode came out today on the 2026 wide receiver class, and he has Tyson like way ahead as wide receiver 1.
Wow. That surprises me.
That was interesting.
Super early breakout age.
So when I was a little bit in my gut, but I was too much of a coward to say it, so I've been ranking Tate wide receiver 1. But now that I've seen like the esteemed and wise JJ Zacharyson with that take, I'm like maybe I.
If I gave in the slap model, if I gave them the same draft capital, Tyson would be light years ahead of Carnell Tate. He had a I believe a 38% dominator rating as a true freshman
at Colorado. Yeah, I think that sounds right.
And his year 3 production is way higher. The one thing I'll say on JJ's model is that so he has a teammate score input, but I asked him this on the show, and it hurts Tate a lot. Is that his teammate score only applies to players that have been drafted or are being drafted in the same class. So Jeremiah Smith doesn't impact Tate's teammates.
So I fudged that in the slap model. I just said pretend Jeremiah Smith is the 5th overall pick. I said give him a
I
score,
have a Jeremiah Smith input as well.
Yeah.
Right.
Which I've been doing for
questions I asked him.
Yeah.
Because I thought it affects like Bernard too, because like it doesn't count Ryan Williams. It's similar to Concepcion doesn't count Mario Craver. So if you're playing next to a future first-round wide receiver, it doesn't help you. But if you're playing next to like Elijah Surratt, you know, who's like a round 3 wide receiver, it does help you. Anyway, it's just I don't know that there's like a better way of doing it, because like like JJ brought up, he's like it sounds reasonable to be like, I'll fudge it for Jeremiah Smith because he's such a unique case, but like you probably don't want to be in a habit of just like assuming draft capital for a bunch of underclassmen, and then a year later they go round 7. And
I do
like,
it for.
Oh, well, I wouldn't have drafted this guy otherwise. Like,
I do it by saying, basically, the guys who are like, if you have to be like Jamar Chase or kind of like maybe not quite to that level, but a very, very highly regarded prospect, and then to the point that it would be like shocking if you fell out of the first round. And then I assume they'll go like first round, like not that they'll go super high in the first round, but they'll be a first round pick. But like I don't have anything in for Craver.
Right.
So, yeah.
I mean, I only really know who Mario Craver is because I just play a lot of CFB 26. So like that's really my main inputs. It's like,
well, his 3-game run at the start of the season basically like changes the dominator rating math for Concepcion a good bit. All right, guys, let's get out of here. LegendaryUpside.com. Kerrane said you had not published these yet, so you wanted to stress test them. So we helped Kerrane.
You helped me dial them
these.
in. Yeah, I'm going to be publishing these. I don't know, when is this going to actually go live?
I'm just gonna post it tonight. I'm just gonna, because I didn't have anything. So I'm gonna post it. I mean, it's gonna take forever to export and render, so it'll probably be like from the time you and I are talking, probably like 2 hours. But it's gonna be tonight.
All right. Well, I'll publish them Thursday morning on the site. Cool. So look for those. And I also published an article on Jadarian Price and Jeremiah Love, nice. In reverse order for the rankings, but is my first rookie profiles on the site. I don't have Price RB1. You'll never believe
the clicks you could have gotten if you.
God,
it would have been.
What?
Yeah.
Remember, I was waiting for someone to do that. Like I actually have Hampton running back one from last year. I was waiting for someone to drop the truth bomb. What if the best Notre Dame running back isn't Jeremiah Love?
Notre Dame got it all wrong.
Yeah. So, dude, there's free clicks for any content creator out there.
Yeah.
There's a 10.
Someone's gonna do it.
Yeah, someone's gonna do it.
Check Jacob, that out on Leg Up. I've got in-depth breakdown of those two guys' profiles. Then I have the rest of the running backs coming out, and I've got my wide receivers, tight end, quarterback stuff all rolling out on the rookie class.
Yeah. Okay, Jacob, I gotta pay you a compliment first off. I mean, as always, great content. And it's just been a joy to see you no longer have to be a lawyer, because if you want to just write 3,000 words about why you no longer label players buys or sells on a Tuesday afternoon, you can just do that.
Well, that was easily the funniest thing I've maybe ever done. Was like I promised a mailbag, and then I got through answering one question. And it was 3.
Very Gretsch of you. That was very Gretsch of you to do that.
So then I just hit publish, and I was like, I'll get to the rest of the mailbag later.
That's the correct way to handle that, I think.
So it was the Gretchification of thinking about thinking is in full stream. Yeah, we're the high volume writing right now. I wrote up the Jalen Waddle trade. I wrote up some Dynasty theory stuff, and then I will finish the other 25 questions of the mailbag, hopefully in one post, not 25 separate posts, this weekend. And then basically starting next week through, it will just be the rookie positions. Every few days I'll have another portion dropping.
Yeah.
Oh, and go listen to the episode with JJ. It was great on Dynasty points. That was fun.
All right, go listen to the episode with JJ. My Dynasty rankings are up on patreon.com/Davis Mattek. You can get Kerrane's at legendaryupside.com. You can get Jacob's at jacobsanderson.substack.com. I mean, if you're still here, please like the video. Please subscribe to the channel for daily fantasy football videos, and we'll be back with you very soon.